Good morning, and welcome everybody, yes indeed, to the, oh, there's this, yes, to...
You're hurting his foot.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Dave's Gone By Facebookio of the program of the, I will explain all this. First, let's have a proper opening for this very special show called Dave's Gone By.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Tropical hot dog night. Like two flamingos in a fruit fight.
Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Oh, no. And welcome to the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, and our brand new friend. I don't even. Now, those of you who are watching, and we do have a bunch of people watching.
Wrong side. Okay. Knock him.
Here we go. And those have included Stan and David and Carolyn, another David and Frank and Lisa and Vaughn and Drew and Janine and thank you, Stan, for wishing me gesundheit. So hello, everybody. Hi, Janine. She says hi, David, with little green hearts. Aww. But
that's very pretty. Ask her how she gets that. I can't get that.
Yeah, how do you do that iconography with a green?
I think that's a shamrock and a heart.
I believe
but
so.
I don't know how she gets a green heart.
Well, O'Connor. I mean, it would be.
No, but how does she do that?
Because she's obviously Jewish. So Joseph, speaking of someone who has a Jewish-sounding last name, welcome to the Daverhood. So I want to ask you that, and I want to ask you if this looks familiar, to anybody, if it's from some movie or weird thing or TV show, Jim Henson concoction. Because we went to a yard sale.
Oh, it's manufactured by Walmart, so you know it's quality.
Oh, there you go.
Made in China. Contains polyester fibers. That's it.
Asbestos.
Marketed by Walmart.
Oh, boy. You can see that is a fine Walmart quality product. Notice it doesn't just have these extraordinary eyeballs, but it's got
little feet.
Is that what those are feet?
Yeah, those are feet.
And if you hit it, it makes noise, kind of like a woman. But you know, oh, ow, ow, as the Kavanaugh hearings go on. Here we go. Listen. Yeah. I can't even, so if anybody knows what the hell this is. It looks rather amazing on.
Yeah, look at his hair. He's got very beautiful hair. Whoa.
He's a beautiful monster.
He's beautiful.
Monsters are such interesting people. No, but it's like I found this. We were at a garage sale. Was it yesterday? I think, or yeah. Janine says, "Oh, you partially by ethnicity she's Jewish."
Tell her, do to 23andMe.
Do 23andMe.
Or if anybody's done it. I want to see if that works. If she's
Joyce, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, I'm Dave, by the way. She's thinking of
that's me.
This is 115,000 in me. God knows what the DNA is in this.
That's right.
It's like Chinese children's blood in there somewhere in a factory that took their finger off. Yeah. But notice the price on this at the yard sale.
Do you want to show them the other one here?
10 cents. Sorry, hold on.
Show what you got for
a
a nickel.
Okay. We go to this yard sale yesterday because I can't resist. I have to go to yard sales.
You're like addicted.
And welcome to Karen from my old library and Robert from my old high school. So, and I'm poking around and there's nothing. I go to one yard sale and there's a stop sign and I didn't buy it
because they're illegal to buy. I think you can't buy stop signs because they're from the Department of Traffic or something.
Yeah, but
don't feed it after midnight.
Well, and the problem is I have to breastfeed it, which is I don't want to know. But so we go to this one place, and it's the only thing they have all these tools in. And you know me with tools, I'm not going to buy that.
No, they had like Christmas stuff. They had like a lot of these yard sales. This is my complaint.
Yeah.
Don't sell clothes. I mean, God Almighty, like, give your clothes to the Ark or Goodwill or like Salvation Army. Sell stuff. I don't find clothes as a yard sale item.
Okay.
I find that disappointing.
Well, it's disappointing for me too. Everything I don't want to buy is disappointing to me. But we went to one, had nothing except a stop sign, which was $3.
You can't
Why
buy
didn't I
it
pull
because
$3
it's from the Department of something.
Yeah, but I'm not going to display it on our lawn. You have to go into our house.
But why would you want it?
I don't know. Like let's say, we get up in the morning, you start annoying me, right? And I just
Do you
go,
want me to leave?
Stop. Well, wouldn't that be great? Or yield?
You want me to leave?
No, I
right now?
don't know. I'm just saying. Or you annoy me, you can hold up.
You're so
I'm not
anti-woman today.
I don't know. Well,
David Nah.
wow.
David Nah.
Well, you can hold it up to me. You know? You
I
can
don't want
have.
to hold a stop sign and spin on the
It
road.
wouldn't be helpful to have a no left turn sign.
That might be more helpful or merge.
If I'm feeling a little in the evening and I want to get something going with you, I'm like, hey, want to merge? And I hold up the sign. Let's come into each other's lanes.
Have we got so much about emojis that you can't even talk?
What? We could do, if I'm feeling like, we're disagreeing on something, and I'm like, hey, you listen to me. I'll hold up a one-way sign. It's like my way, and I hold the sign towards me. No. What? No?
No.
You don't think that would work?
Tell them what's on the show.
I don't know what a school bus sign would do. Anyway, so we go to this one yard sale, it sucked. We go to another yard, that also sucked.
Yeah.
But they had really cheap crap. And among the two crappy things that we saw, Joyce fell in love with this.
It reminded me of you when we first met.
Yeah, when I had hair.
Yes.
Well, yeah, kind of. And it's got the big old eyes there and little stumpy legs, kind of like me.
Yeah.
So, okay, have you named him yet? I've been calling him moop-moop. What are you going to call him?
You call everything moop-moop.
I do not call everything moop-moop.
You call him moop-moop.
Well, women's privates maybe, but no, that's mook-mook.
Oh, okay, call him moop-moop.
We can call him
That's a good
moop-moop. Isn't he? He looks like a moop-moop, doesn't he?
From space.
A moop-moop from space.
Because he makes all those weird sounds and stuff.
He is a moop-moop from Uranus.
Yes.
There we go. So anyway, we found this for 10 cents, worth every penny. Am I right?
Because I paid for it, yes.
And then, out of the quarter that you loaned me,
yes,
we also found this. We found a kite, ladies and gentlemen. We found, I haven't flown a kite 45 years.
People often tell you go fly a kite.
So we found the kite, and it looks kind of, no big deal, little children's kite. But here's what it is. This is the most fantastic thing I've ever seen. It is a kite, and I wish Art Paul Schlosser were watching.
Maybe he will.
New Life in Jesus Kite. This is real, and please note that I paid my wife paid 5 cents for this.
Are you going to open it?
I'm going to open it now on the air.
Whoa,
this is
do
so
you want
cool.
a scissor?
But actually, I don't think we need one. I think it might open it might have a fold-over opening thing, or maybe it won't.
And let me see. I'll give you the
we
container.
want to try our New Life in Jesus Kite. Oh, Janine says, is this thing a merkin? I don't know.
What is that?
I have to call Carnegie and ask about their merkin concert
Okay,
hall.
so that's the show. Then the
So
picture.
here's the
this
wrapper.
is disappointing.
Oh, is it? All right, hold on. And it's like, I thought it was a worm.
Do you want me to put it together completely for you?
It's, if you can.
Yes, I know.
Oh, Joyce is putting the crosshairs and things in the pie. But the New Life in Jesus Kite, I assume it's a caterpillar or some kind of grub worm smiling at us and saying, fly me in the name of you-know-who. Who would think of this? What company would because if you think about it, I guess a kite has crosshairs
I'm not going to
like
put the
this.
string on it.
Okay. Oh, man.
But I guess...
Oh, this is an object worthy of worship. Let's take a look at this.
Somehow you got to put the string, which I don't have.
Whoa.
I put it together.
Joyce has put this kite together. The New Life in Jesus Kite. We're
getting the string out of your way so you could show it more beautifully.
Oh, boy. I could make a tampon joke about that, but I won't. All right. We have it?
It has a Corinthians quote, 1 Corinthians, I think.
So here it is. Here, and it's turned into I would say a beautiful butterfly, but the color scheme is sort of atrocious. The quote, as you say, from Corinthians is, if anyone is in Christ, well, I guess he pitches for both teams. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has gone, The new has come. Yeah, because kids are really going to get into that whole...
It's too
crazy-
long for
yeah,
children.
Right.
Like, children won't know.
They need a bigger kite.
It's really... I like... Look at the tail. Show them the pretty
Oh, it's got a nice,
tail.
nice tail.
Yeah, maybe we could try to fly it. It's windy today.
Well, where do you fly it from?
Well,
How do you
I
hold
have
it?
this. I didn't put the string, but that showed
Oh,
that's
so
where you attach the string. I didn't do that because I was afraid that you would get upset.
And actually, authentically, Jesus was nailed to one of these.
So help me do this.
All right, hold on. Are we really going to try to do this?
No, not today.
There's no wind, unless
No,
I
not
fart
now.
a couple of times.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
We'll have to experiment
Classy
with it.
show. Yeah.
I could take a video of you. Oh, I gotta fix it.
Flying my new... We could do this right outside
I gotta
York
fix it.
Gunter Hall.
No, I need more we need place.
Do you need Scotch tape? I might have...
No, not Scotch tape. It has to go in a certain... This is like a whole deal here.
It has to go in a certain way. That's what she said. But ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned into the 669th edition of the Dave's Gone By program with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, our new friend,
Nice.
moop-moop from Uranus, as well as, don't even, of course, the Grand Knish joins us
I don't know where you
on special occasions like today, because this is very special to us. This not only is our 669th
It
episode.
was made in 2009.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's 2 Corinthians, not 1st.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's the Corinthian sequel. Made of fine Corinthian leather, in fact.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put this together. I'm sorry. What's
Yeah.
the show you were saying?
But the specialness is not just that we went to the garage sale and got this marvelous crap, but today, 16 years ago today,
Yeah.
in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening,
Yeah.
we went to a radio
yes,
station
I remember.
in Merrick, Long Island at that
Yes. And Paul was our
engineer.
engineer.
point. WGBB,
Oh my
Freeport,
God.
where good broadcasting begins. Ha.
No, wasn't it in Rockville Center?
Mm.
Didn't it
No.
start in Rockville Center?
No, it started in, borderline almost,
Oh, okay.
Baldwin, Merrick. Or American Freeport. It was Freeport.
Yeah.
And then they moved to West Babylon
Oh.
about half a year or a year later.
Oh, wow.
But when we first got there, it was in Merrick Freeport area. Mm-hmm. This little station in disarray.
Do you want tea?
I'm good. I just have to get my throat gobblings out. 11 o'clock at night, waiting for one show to end, scurrying in with all my crap. I have paperwork that I do a 3.5 hour
You had like a
show with.
50-page
Yeah.
script. You
For
had each
57
part,
minutes.
And he had each part highlighted. And we had the engineer who struggled with reading, I think. And it was just, he was like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, never give 50 pages to a dyslexic
No,
who's
I mean,
going to
yeah,
be
of
controlling
course.
knobs for the first time, too. I never
Yes,
met,
you
I
never
met
met
him
him.
once. I said, okay, now on this page you do this. This is all scripted.
And it's color-coded, yeah.
And little did I know that most engineers at stations like this, and every radio station, basically, it's like fire and forget. You lift a couple of knobs, and then you wait until commercial to do anything else. Me, I'm saying, well, you've got to read the script, and when I say that word, you turn this down.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
he was looking at me like I was a
I
madman.
know, like you had 7 heads.
Which
yeah.
I was and am. So, and we got through
And
it.
you used to talk so fast. You're like...
I still talk fast.
it
I was talking fast, reading from a script.
You were like... It was so fast.
Yeah. Well, and people can, by the way, just a reminder, you can hear that very first episode that we did 16 years ago today.
My God.
By going to the archives at davesgoneby.com. I think it still holds up. I've listened over the years to parts of that first show.
My famous early work is when you did the tainted Halloween candy one. And then I like when you reenacted your birth with, was it Joe Salzone was your mom or your dad?
Right, my old friend Scott was there,
You reenacted your birth scene. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fun.
you did a lot of more fun commercials and,
I did more skits and sketches
yeah, you
there.
did a lot of sketches, yeah.
Now, I don't do that as much. Now I do a lot more, extemporaneous work, and I do some pre-preparation and make fun of stuff that other people have
And you
written.
didn't interview people. In the early show, it was never
just meant to be an interview show.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think one of the first interviews I had was the Whistler, Steve the Whistler Herbst. He was kind of a semi-professional whistler. He was way cool. There was one time I called up this guy who got arrested because he would write almost obscene things on his checks to Long Island Power Company.
Guy. Yeah, he was funny, yeah.
Yeah, he was. He would send a check, his monthly check to pay his electric bill, but on it he would say "fuck you,"
Really?
and then he got arrested.
I don't think he said things like that. I don't think it was that direct.
Or maybe he wasn't as,
No,
he
it
didn't
was-
use the F word, but he used very nasty language.
Yeah, I think they were.
They overreacted.
Yeah.
And they dropped the charges, and he owned a sporting goods store.
Really?
So I called him, and I put him on the air, and I think that's there somewhere in the first couple of episodes. So things evolve, things change. Now I do a lot more interviews, although today it's just a pure old-fashioned Dave's Gone By without a quote-unquote special guest. But next week we have...
Aren't you the special guest?
You're my special guest all the time, as is brand new moop-moop from Uranus.
What did she called him? Something he was a metronite, or what is he called?
My merkin.
Merkin?
Yeah.
You want me to, I'll look it up on my phone.
Yeah, look up merkin. Yeah.
Like mercantile?
Well, not like Merkin Constable, but Merkin something. M-E-R-K-I-N. Merkin. And by the way, welcome to Michael and David, the playwright, and
Ask
Raymond.
them if they know what a merkin is.
Do you know what a merkin is? If you do. I'm merkin, and also Jewish because I live in America.
You're working hard.
That's coming. I'm working hard for the money. That's right. And Julie, by the way, and Shannon. Oh, Shannon, my cohort. When I was doing the UNC Masters. Yay, Shannon. She's in Denver. And Janine says you can always send the kite. Remember, if you missed it, folks, you missed the opening of the New Life in Jesus Extraordinary Kite.
Oh.
I don't know if we're going to... What is a merkin, babe?
We can't, don't say it.
Oh, my God. I think I know what it is.
Look, David.
Is it like a muff? Oh. Yes.
No.
I can mention it for sure.
Please don't. It's disgusting in the morning.
There's nothing disgusting about it. It's a pubic beard.
Oh my God.
What?
They have a wig. It's a wig for your Jennies.
Oh.
Look, and they're,
Yeah.
American.
Okay, well, take a look, folks. If you are a redhead, perhaps you look something like this, or maybe this from the back. There you go. So we could call him, instead of moop-moop the merkin.
I never heard of that. Did you ever hear that?
Well, why would I know about a pubic wig? Actually, it does ring a bell now that we're talking about it.
I never heard of that in my life.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, Shannon says, I know what it is. I had What? Shannon, my old cohort here at UNC.
Yes. They
says,
do make them. They said that Jennifer Connelly, one of the actresses, wore one in a movie. It says Jennifer Connelly needed a merkin. She's on Jimmy Kimmel, so people need them.
Okay. I guess so many women have been, over the years, convinced because of pornography and men's desires for youth to shave down there. So maybe in the movies they suddenly need immediate extra
It
growth.
says the merkin maker behind celebrity nude scenes. Apparently there's somebody who does it.
Well, whoa, yeah.
It says, stop smirking at my merkin. Dare to wear body hair.
Okay. I'm so glad we're talking about this on the Kavanaugh hearing day. This is
God.
Whoa.
I never heard of. How do people know
I don't know how
this
people
stuff?
know that. Well, Shannon says she knows somebody who used to make them.
Oh my God.
Can you send us one?
Ask Shannon if that looks like one.
Shannon, if you know any red-headed women or people who make wigs for red-headed women down below, does this look anything like this? Would you groom this with KY? But I don't know. I'm just wondering. But if you can get us in touch with your friend, and they're relatively cheap, if I could buy one, I don't know what I would put it on. Can men wear one? Do they have male merkins? Like if you need...
I don't know.
The thing, because men shave their privates too these days.
Oh my God, get off this topic. It's making me nauseous.
I want one, Dabby. Look, I'm all naked down here. I need some coverage. It's going to be winter. I'll be cold. We could get a merkin. If you have a merkin for potato, I would. Why not? Why not, ladies and gentlemen? But it has to be lice-free.
Oh God.
Shannon says this is more like the Muppet version of it.
He's cute though, hey?
I guess a Prairie Dawn
Come on,
had
he's
some
cute.
hair down there.
Come on, he's cute.
Yes, he's very cute. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
God knows what Miss Piggy. She was probably shaved. If you're going to take the female Muppets, I don't know why I'm going here.
Let's go off of this, please. Move forward.
All right, I'm just saying,
Talk about it after potato news.
all right, fine. Potato News will be part of the program today, as will, what else will be? Greeley Crimes and Old Times Inside Broadway. We will have a Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we'll be talking about Buena Vista, Colorado. That is where we do a poem every week, a limerick about someplace in Colorado that's even more disgusting than the idea of making fun of merkins. And speaking of disgusting, we'll go have story time. Oh, yes, we have a new story for you. It's part 2 of Bill Cosby's Lil Bill, Meanest Things to Say. So there you go.
That's horrible.
Bill Cosby. We'll finish up this book today. And perfect day for it, considering everything that's going on. And I'm going to ask you a favor, kindly. What? We'll also do Dave's Big Dick Dictionary. Here it is, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary with 75,000 definitions. Joyce is going to randomly poke her finger into the dictionary and find a word. She's doing it right now, literally. And?
Marshall.
It
says, Roman god of war.
Yikes. Marshall. Anything else? Because there's got to be other words. Is it 2 L's or 1?
Martial.
Oh, sorry.
Related to or suited for war or a warrior. Relating to an army or military life. Like a martial art, but you know.
Yeah. Okay.
It comes from Latin, Martialis, I guess Mars, which means Roman god of war.
Roman god of Mars, okay. Thank you. Okay. I think I can do that. I was hoping it was the other spelling, because it could do like Marshall Amps or something like that.
You want a backup word?
Marshall Brickman. No, I can't. No, that's no fair.
Okay.
That's cheating. I've got to do Marshall, Martial. Sometime later in the program, I'm going to have to come up with something, 5 minutes, to talk about involving the word marshal in that military context. Wow. I don't know yet. And I won't have time to think because we don't have a guest. So I won't get a break this whole
You're on the hook.
Yeah. This will be tough. By the way, welcome to Gina and welcome to Jay, and congratulations to Jay. Some point in our Friends of the Daverhood will mention that the play he directed, featuring Galinsky, the Bench, is opening in Los Angeles, and it's playing there for a bunch of weeks. So yay. Not to mention, Jay's been getting great reviews.
For what?
For Uncle Vanya.
Well, I love Uncle Vanya.
Production of Uncle Vanya.
Do more Russians, Jay. Do the Russians.
That's, well, yeah. Well, he's not right. He's in it, but he could,
Act in more Russian plays.
That's right. So welcome, Jay. And welcome to everyone. And Reggie. I forgot to say hi to Reggie. Welcome to all the folks who are tuning in on Facebook.
What's Reggie short for?
Reginald.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just like vagina is short for vaginal. Ow! I have my protective merkin. Don't hit me.
I learned something new today.
So did I. Not something we can share with a lot of people. I can't go to my class on Tuesday. I learned a new word today. And it's like, no, can't really do that. Anyway, what I can do, let's see, what else is there? We can talk about. Remember last week we were excited and then vaguely disappointed? Because after all this time, we were waiting for Mayochup to come.
Yes.
And Mayochup came, and I tried it.
Can I tell you that T.S. Eliot, not with a bang, but a whimper. This is the way the world ends.
It was fairly whimpery. I tasted it like, with my finger. Now, Mayochup, of course, is Heinz's jumping into the fray.
I didn't send you an article, but it's about Heinz losing shelf space for ketchup.
No!
Yes! I didn't send that.
Maybe Sir Kensington, that'd be good.
The powers that be.
But hopefully not Hunt's. And
I don't know,
Those other
So apparently it's part of a big, larger ketchup
a war. So Heinz wants to take up more space on the mayonnaise shelf.
Yes, that's
because they're losing space on the ketchup shelf.
I would think they want to dominate the
could get ugly.
Shelf,
This could get worse than the Senate hearings right now.
What did the article say? I don't remember.
Well, amazingly enough, we have a segment of Potato News that will delve very deeply into this. But the thing about Mayochup was...
David, when you started, you didn't have Potato News either.
Oh, no. Potato News is...
And you had no video.
Recent.
You only had video in the last year?
Yeah, I think many years ago, we tried bringing a video camera into... Even back at GBB, we did that.
I think we did it once or twice.
Yeah. And it was just such a pain to set it up, to bring it there, to have a 3-hour... it was at night. We had more time then, like an hour and a half, 2 hours... And then to have to download it and to deal with it just
too much.
Didn't happen, didn't work. And where did the microphone go?
Oh.
So we stopped. And now, go figure, we are video.
You remember David, the ex-cop who did a show?
He wasn't just an ex-cop.
Yeah.
He was Lou Tolano.
Yeah, so he did in Starsky and Hutch, right?
Starsky and Hutch was based on him and his partner as undercover kind of
my
scruffy
God.
detectives. And Lou Tolano, unless I'm mistaken, still does
You're
his
kidding.
weekly show on WGBB.
You should have interviewed them for this show.
I
That's
could've,
some of your
Yeah, I just haven't had the time to.
cohort, yeah.
Oh, Mommy, you're not. You knocked off a potato from the wall. Oh, no.
Tough.
Make nice. Kiss him.
What happened? Look at his things all extended.
Oh, oh no!
That's not good,
One of our potatoes fell off the wall here. It's a
Things
tragedy.
sticking down.
So, what was I saying? Well, first,
Potato news.
Yeah.
Heinz shelf
but back
space.
to the Mayochup thing.
Yeah,
I tried the
Mayochup.
Mayochup.
You like it with tuna fish.
That was the thing I learned
Yeah,
this week.
yeah.
I was very disappointed, I must admit, when we paid $6 for a bottle of Mayochup when it finally arrived in Safeway. Because Heinz was going to roll out the Mayochup slowly and put it in Boston and Chicago and a couple of other places like L.A. It sounds like the merkin talking.
Let's see.
That's how I felt. I thought, oh, this is all right. It's not as good as ketchup, and it's not as good, I'm not a big mayo fan, but it's not as good as
because you're
Hellman's
supposed
mayo.
to put it on French fries, and we don't make French fries at home.
And even for French fries, ketchup. French fries, ketchup. They go.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured, it's really meant for putting on hamburgers. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, yeah, sort of like an egg sandwich. You made it on an egg sandwich, too, but you didn't care
It
for
was
it.
okay. But then you made me a tuna sandwich.
Yeah, we use walnuts, tell them to.
A little bit of walnuts,
Yeah,
and
can we
instead
use
of
it?
using mayonnaise, as you usually
I
do,
use both.
you use the Heinz... Oh, you added mayo too?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So if I added mayo and then I added the Mayochups to give it a little kick.
Yeah, it was good, whatever it was. It was really good.
It's my secret.
So try that. Try
Yeah.
if you're not convinced about Mayochup
It
yet.
probably tastes like tartar sauce, I would think.
No, well,
No.
tartar is pure white.
Ask people what they would use Mayochups on, you know?
Tartar sauce is almost like putting semen on fish.
Ask them what they would use it for.
What would you use Mayochup for? All the folks who kind of tune in and give your answers to things. So, but we will discuss the difference between ketchup and mayo and fry sauce, which has been around in other countries for years. This very important distinction. Yeah. So, potato news is coming up, but I did want to mention that we tried fry sauce again. I gave it another shot, and so far the best thing that I've had it on is a tuna fish sandwich. It really, really works. So, yay for that. And what else do I want to talk about? I went to the dentist this week. I don't want to remember this when I start doing figures of speech. I spend a class or two later in my English composition class of putting poetic terms into essays. You don't need to know any of that. But
What's this? What?
talk
why
about
did that-
euphemism. I go to the dentist this week, right? And I'm in there.
Did they tell you, do you want to get the gas or something?
Well, no. I'm like, first of all, the woman is about to do X-rays on me.
Yeah.
And they told me, no, it's just a cleaning. It's not going to be a checkup because it's been only 4 months. And then, happily, she looks again. And she knows, we did the panel last time and we did the 4 bite wings last time. We don't have to do X-rays today. So she almost made me sterile for no reason. And then she says, oh, no, oops. Right?
Yeah.
And then she takes off the bib and it's like, no X-rays today. I'm like, thank you very much.
Good.
But I didn't realize this about dentists and things. You would figure the euphemisms that they use.
Yeah.
Because I'm just getting a cleaning. I didn't have any cavities.
Your
Yay.
gum, but you got your gum issue.
Well, yeah, I sometimes...
You gotta use the gum
They
toothpaste.
barely bled at all.
Good.
Gums are in really good shape. But she still has to clean, and she has to get into the spots where I can't necessarily get
Tell
to.
the people, not me.
Oh,
Come,
yeah.
look at the people.
The spots where I can't necessarily get to.
Oh, wait.
And they use that...
Just give me a second.
Even before they polish.
Wait, just don't say anything.
Sure.
Hold on, wait. Oh,
Do you have it on there?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a sound we love. Ah. Now, what sound is that?
Dentist drill.
I beg your pardon?
Dentist drill.
A dentist drill.
Yeah.
And I asked her, because it's still, you've got this rotating thing that's kind of pointed, even though it's just a cleaning, they're going in there. And I say, well, is that a drill? And so we don't have drills. We don't use drills.
It says
I mean,
right
you're
here.
a dentist's office.
It says right here, dentist.
Yeah.
What do
But
they use?
they don't use, even in a cavity, even in a filling, they don't use a drill. They call this, I swear to God, a high-speed handpiece. That is a dental euphemism for a drill.
Is it like a hired gun?
Tell me about it. This is the word thing. Drill is like a no-no word.
Because I'd be scared if I was a kid if they said I'm going to use the drill. I mean, you'd think like my dad uses a drill in the shop, right?
But, I mean, it's not even what you're going to tell kids. I can understand if you tell a child sitting there,
That's
we're going to
what's-
use the spinny broomstick.
But that's what somebody with dementia would do. They would say, like, they wouldn't know a key, but they'd say a door opener device. You know,
Right.
they would describe it in words because they can't get the proper noun.
But
That's
these people
like a
know.
weird, yeah, maybe
These people-
not. Maybe
high
not.
speed, and
maybe
of course,
maybe
yeah.
they're taking the gas and the nitrous oxide or whatever it is.
And then you got the high speed ones, which are 700 rotations per minute, and then you know those lower speed ones, like a and those are like 400 rotations
How
per
do
minute.
you know all this?
Because I asked her. I said, "Do you have drills?" And she said, "We don't have drills." I'm like, "You're a dentist's office. What the hell? Do you go in there with your fingers?" And she's like, "No. We call them hand pieces, high speed and low speed hand
that's
pieces."
so bizarro.
And you know they don't use toothpaste.
What do they use?
Oh, no,
Tooth
it's not
polish?
called toothpaste or tooth powder as in the
Tooth
old days, or
cleaner?
tooth powder. No. I'm not making
it
this up.
called?
When they put the stuff to clean to get your
Yeah.
pearly whites pearly white, they call it prophylaxis. Prophylaxis. Or prophylaxis paste. Honest to God.
You're making that up.
Oh, yeah, sure. Dentists, if anybody out there is a dentist and is actually making a decent living unlike me, I mean, tell me if I am wrong about this. Hand pieces and prophylaxis. Well,
Why are you doing
I don't
the
enjoy
little
wearing
finger?
prophylaxis. Yes?
You were doing like...
Oh, sorry. It's just the way I go. So, but we're just euphemism crazy in this. I can understand not wanting to go into a dentist's office and hear somebody refer to a drill. But toothpaste?
But it's a drill because they I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, you can call your shirt a thing that covers your thorax or whatever, but it's still a shirt.
Yeah, I told the woman doing the cleaning, I said, so if I'm carrying a gun, is that a hole-boring device? I mean,
No, I think it's just, maybe that's the technical name. It's like, so in discourse analysis, you look at how people slang.
Yeah.
And if somebody slangs with you, like if I say, oh, I'm going to go to the UC, right? It means that we have a common language and understanding,
Yeah.
but the real name is the university center. So slang means something. So maybe the common usage is saying that's a drill,
Well,
because
their
if you-
discourse.
listen,
Yeah.
if you're going through the bone, you have to have something that's gonna,
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just saying, but that is their discourse, and that's how they also keep them, so they talk to each other on this level, and everybody else hears them on
They
this
say
level.
we're gonna rip his teeth out of his mouth and do whatever.
There's going to be professional dentistry words for that.
Wow.
But if you go PDF, go look, not right now, because you're listening to my
PDF?
program, but yeah, well, the first thing you
Google.
see when you Google, a PDF comes up of all these euphemistic terms that don't even. No, there are some euphemistic terms that, let's say you've got a child's got a cavity, they've got to do some local anesthetic or put. They'll use words like goofy gas. That's a euphemism. I get
Ouchie,
that.
You're gonna get a big ouchie.
As opposed to telling a 7-year-old you're going to have, or you're going to get anesthetic. There's we'll give you the sleepy juice, the goofy gas. These are the
Is
phrases
that what
they
Bill
use.
Cosby used to say?
Hey, Bill, get your sister over here.
Yeah.
I've got a drink for her.
There
It's
was
got,
a time when,
What?
I
Bill
just
Cosby?
know. Yeah, no, I'm just discussing
Brett Kavanaugh?
that. Can we talk about something happy?
Well, I can have a cavity. That's happy. Thank you. Yeah, I consider that happy. I consider that a good day, And what else happy happened this week? Did anything happy occur this week here around?
When did we go to the McNair dinner? Was that last week or this week?
We certainly didn't talk about that. We
I don't
can
know
mention
if it
that.
was. I can't remember now, sweetheart.
It might have
It
been
was
last
a Friday.
I don't think we even brought it up.
That's weird.
McNair, you want to explain what that is?
You explain it.
Okay.
Do you know?
Well, it has to do with
It's
young students. Okay.
It's for students who come from groups that are traditionally left out of the academic system or don't have the same advantages as other groups, but want to go to grad school.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronald McNair was an astronaut who... They showed the little
African-American guy.
They show a little infographic that I love of him as a kid wanting to check out library books in a race-segregated library, and then the librarian calls the police, and the police are like, "Just give him the books," you know, like. And then he becomes a astronaut, and they're like, he's a nearsighted kid with glasses, you know, and he does so well. I mean, he died in the Challenger, but his legacy is that he's left money for students to really get what every student should get, really a lot of support to understand how to get to grad school if that's what you wish.
It isn't just that they're getting financial support, it's that they're shown how to do
research, how to write a personal statement,
Yeah.
how to become an academic. And the ties they form with the McNair staff and with the other students in their group or cohort, they're so strong. It's beautiful. I think every student should have that. That's retention.
So every year at UNC they have them. I guess they have them colleges all over.
I think in Colorado, I know back east, but here there's a few schools that have McNair.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're one of them.
But we had a dinner, but we went to the McNair annual gala here in Colorado. It was lovely. I mean, they had, not everything was lovely. They had a couple of they didn't have alcohol. For probably good reason, because you're celebrating a bunch of people who are 20 years old.
Yes.
And also...
It was the Hollywood theme, which I loved. I loved the Hollywood theme. I loved that.
Yeah. Although some of their mocktails... One mocktail was good. It was like a Shirley Temple with pomegranate. It was good. Another was like, woo.
Well, they had you have to imitate the alcohol thing, and we don't drink at all.
Yeah,
so
true.
it's like...
So they had these mocktails.
But I think that's a great idea. So for me, as somebody who doesn't drink, the idea of having a quote-unquote bar with mocktails, I would do that like at a bridal shower. I would do that at a
I make
party.
them taste better. I think it's a great idea.
But I like that idea of like, it's festive, but it's not, I thought it was so clever.
Umbrellas in the drinks. They would make them look... One of the drinks that was okay
it had a little
was like a... not a margarita. Well, kind of like a margarita and also a Bloody Mary, where they would rim the glass with salt. I mean, it had a little bit of a kick to it.
That was spicy.
But again, no alcohol. It was really a cool idea.
I thought that was so clever. It was so unusual. I really enjoyed that concept quite a bit.
And then they start they do presentations and things like that. And then they had that woman, this opera, I guess an opera singer.
Mezzo-soprano, I think, right? Mezzo.
And she comes out, and I think she's going to be, like, just unendurable. Because she has this diva way about her. She's a diva. She's literally an opera diva. And she behaves like one. And she, like, orders this older African-American. She's African-American. He's African. She orders him as, like...
That's her husband.
Bring me my... Who knew at that point?
She said, I'm going to tell my husband to bring water.
Okay.
Yes,
she said her... Because she was, like, ordering... She's like, bring me my water. I'm like, okay... All right. Maybe I'll just get up now and spare myself your speech. And she was going on about herself in a rather boastful way.
In the beginning. That was the setup for the speech.
Yeah. So I'm watching that, and I'm like, oh boy, you really think you're hot stuff, and maybe you are, but I don't care. And then she gets to her story, and holy crap, what this woman went through. As a child, I mean,
every single thing you could think of,
I mean, with her father and her mother and her aunt.
Given up by her parents,
beaten up, sexually abused.
Her grandmother.
Told she was worthless. I mean, day after day of absolute horror.
Until she won a scholarship.
Yeah. Well, no, she won a scholarship and she couldn't even take it.
No, she did.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It took another year. She was going to grab it. The guy promoting the scholarship went to her parents and said, she did this, she earned this. Yeah. They threw him out of the house and beat the shit out of her.
Her. It was a teacher.
Oh, it was a female teacher. They kicked her out and said, leave now.
Yeah.
And then they beat the living daylights out of this woman.
Yeah.
And so, she's telling the story, and literally you cannot hear a pin drop for a half hour in the room.
And then they're like, break, ice cream sundaes! Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah, after we're listening to this relentless horror story of this, which eventually has a happy ending eventually. Yes. But this horror of this girl who suffered staggering years of abuse, and then it's like, and then I survived. I did, and thank goodness for this. And then suddenly, ice cream! Everybody's lining up to make our own ice cream sundaes, which was quite marvelous. But it was a wonderful evening. It was a really and good food.
It makes me so proud that, because I've had a couple McNair students or shared McNair students, and it just makes me happy. I mean, I have a PhD, but I'm first generation. My mom and dad didn't go to college. I had 2 aunts that went to Columbia and NYU and got PhDs, great aunts. But
Well, they weren't that great. They're pretty good.
no, but for my own family. So I think, like, it always makes me mad when people don't get ahead because they don't know how. And like, if you don't have access to knowledge and that's your barrier, it makes me crazy. So the fact that kids can have the support they need, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, and that's what this whole McNair thing is really
And
all
I'm
about.
glad that you went along. I know that I registered you, but I have to say, like, I've been going into it for years. But when I saw that Hollywood theme, I call it old Hollywood because the way it looked. And then they gave the kids baskets, like with books, like How to Succeed, you know, all these things.
I didn't know it was in the baskets,
and like they give them a little Oscar or it was beautiful. I thought it was so clever. Like, I like that kind of, like, planning. And the girl who planned it was she's an opera singer at UNC.
Oh, that's right. We know.
We saw her at the Courier Inn. Inn used to be Sodbuster. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a lovely evening.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't get a chance to talk about it last Saturday, but that was a Friday ago.
It was
and
super.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we went. And one of the reasons you were invited was in prior years you mentored.
I've had McNairs or co-McNairs. Yeah. It was just awesome.
I've had McMuffins.
It's awesome.
They're pretty good.
It's just an awesome program.
Cool. And by the way, speaking of awesome programs, you're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. If you can maybe angle a little more this way.
I can't.
This way we can, A, you're closer to the mic,
Okay.
and B, I can, potato. Since this is a special occasion, do you want to bring potato down? Well, not only do we have the Grand Knish with us, not only do we have our new moop-moop with us, but we even talk about excitement. Yeah, we have him.
Wait, hold on.
Our big Spuddy, but we have 2 of them. How am I going to do this? 16th anniversary Dave's Gone By program here, live. Oh, kissy.
Turn on his backside. No, they're happy.
Well, they are happy. Of course they're happy. It's our 16th anniversary.
Do you
live
want
on
them
this
with
October 6th, 2018. What?
Do you want them with you? Here,
I've got no idea. No, you can put them back up. But I want to share this.
Put them here, David. Look. Can
Oh.
you see them?
Oh, boy. Yes!
Oh, my God. Hold on.
Oh! Here.
Oh, shit.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Yeah. They're kind of hard to wrangle.
Is that okay?
Oh, they're beautiful. Look at them. Oh.
Can you see them?
Yeah, take a look.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yay! The boys.
Here, one of your potatoes fell, and there's a sock.
The Spuds are back in
I don't know
town.
where
Yeah.
this one's from. There's a sock.
Oh, someone lost a sock.
And here's this one.
It's just wild times.
Why don't you wear this for your...
Actually, moop-moop should wear this.
Oh.
Moop-moop from Uranus should wear. Here we go. Now we're all set.
Oh, he looks so cute. Wait, here, put a sock on him.
Okay. Where?
On his foot.
No, I don't think so. It's his prophylaxis, if you know what I mean.
God.
Anyway, Dave's Gone By. It's our 669th episode of the show. And as I said, 16 years ago,
Look
we
at that
started the very
behind
first
you.
one. There's little
see,
potato
exactly.
there, and all the potatoes behind me. My darling wife Joyce, all of you tuning in, Gina and Jay, and another Jay, and Lawrence, and Karen, hey Karen, Michael and Jeffrey, and so many folks, and David Wayne just tuned in. So
Is
yay!
he related to John? Are you related to John Wayne?
I don't think so. Or there used to be an actor named David Wayne who was on Broadway.
Wow, maybe that's him.
And he turned out to be a jerk when my father met him. So anyway, he's dead now. Not my father, but David Wayne is. But not this David Wayne, so welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Wayne's World, party time.
Party time, excellent. And it is an excellent party time here on this episode of the program because we'll have a Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Buena Vista. We'll have Dave's Big Dictionary about the word Marshall. We'll go inside Broadway for news of the Rialto. We'll have potato news. We'll have a Saturday segue of songs in the news. But first, you know what it's time for.
What?
Well, where do we live, my dear? At least at the moment.
Oh, Colorado.
And we're specifically in Colorado?
Greeley.
It's time for Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Yay! Flag-a-da-doo, Squiddy-o-dee-dee. Squiddy-o-dee-doo. Shooby-splah-dee-dee. Anyway, yes, Greeley Crimes and Old Times here on Dave's Gone By in the Daverhood on this October 6th, 2018. So, here's the deal. We look at the Greeley Tribune newspaper here in town, and they do 2 really cool columns every week. One of which is called Cop Log, where people call to report strange things to our local police department in Weld County. Oh, it matches
You know
my
what it
outfit.
looks like? It looks like a Snapchat. That's how Snapchat does it.
Oh, no, yes. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Be serious.
Okay. Well, this is it's really there's crimes in this town.
These are not like murder. This is like somebody sees a sheep in a meadow kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not,
basically.
These are not like,
But
these are not, yeah.
Our newspaper compiles
Wait, here's one, look.
them.
Cow on Highway 34. Cow on Highway 34. That's a cowbell, not a sheep.
Oh, I get it. Yay. Yay. We make beautiful music together. And that was utterly funny.
I like you in the vest, honey. You look very handsome.
And like a cow, I'm kind of horny. And that's no bull. I'm milking this as much as I can.
I can see that.
I really, really am. I'm so happy to meet you. All right, we'll chop that here. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cop Log is one part of it. And then we have another part of the segment that we mixed together called Greeley 100 Years Ago. And these were items that were in the Greeley newspaper, which was back then called the Greeley Tribune Republican, go figure. And what were they printing back then? So we look at it from the lens of 100 years later of what was weird, what was crazy, what was nostalgic, what was funny. 2 columns from the Greeley Tribune. So are you ready, my dear, for Greeley Crimes and Old Times? Oh boy. Here we go. Police responded to a craft store on Center Place Drive for a man writing down license plate numbers in the parking lot. The caller wanted police to check him out because, quote, he didn't look official. He doesn't even have a badge or nothing,
wow.
The caller said.
Why would you be doing that? I don't get it.
Well, also, would it be illegal to go into a parking lot and write down people's license plate numbers?
But what's the outcome? Like, what are you going to do with them?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to complain about them. Maybe they're turned the wrong way.
Oh, God.
You know, I think we talked about this already on the show. Like, our parking lots here at UNC, they're suddenly enforcing not just where you can and can't park, depending on your sticker in the car, but literally which direction your car is turned when you're parking, so that you're pulling into, I guess, or not pulling into the flow of traffic. I don't even understand it. It makes literally no sense to me. But you can get a ticket, even if you're pulled perfectly into a space, if the front of your car is in the wrong way in that space. It's mind-boggling. And, well, they're going to make $10 million back any way they can.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
The skin of my back. Woo!
Oh.
What?
Oh, this is exciting.
Wait, we don't have an aw. Wait, I don't think we have an aw. Wait, hold on.
No, I don't think we do. We may used to have.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, that'll work. Do that one more time.
Let me see if there's another one. How about this? No?
Maybe. Yeah. Well, maybe. No. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about any of those in context for this. I like that one. That's a good one. One of the greatest names ever. Are you ready for this?
Mr. Poopenstein?
That would be the greatest name ever. Aki Waddles. Come on, that's an awe name if I've ever heard one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Aki Wattles. OCCY-WATTLES. Aki Wattles said he went to the movie show 2 nights ago.
Wow.
And he left a piece of gum stuck to the underseat so he could enjoy it the next night.
Oh my God, I'm getting nauseous.
However, when he went to the show the next night, the gum was gone.
Oh, Potato fell on the floor with his thing.
Oh no, his hat.
No.
He got upset about Aki Waddles losing his gum.
No, falling all over his shoes. This one fell. What happened? So he put his gum.
So he put his gum under the chair so that when he came back to see the movie again or whatever vaudeville program they had back at the theater, which I guess was the Sterling Theater in Greeley back then, when he did this, he left the gum there so he could come back and enjoy what flavor was left in the gum, a day later.
Remember that
at the
song?
movies. Well, does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost or under the movie theater seat overnight? Yeah. And here's what Aki Waddles is wondering. He wonders who would have taken it for a chew.
Especially chewed by someone named Aki Waddles. It's not like...
That's right. I would probably chew gum if somebody said, you know who chewed this gum? Aki Waddles.
I'd be like, oh, hell no.
You sure?
Oh, no, can't stop us now.
Hey, speaking of theater, speaking of the Sterling Theater in Greeley, vaudeville. Check this. This is 1918. Vaudeville has been canceled at the
You
Sterling.
mean vaudeville in general, the whole art form?
Give it 10 more years, it would have been, yeah. Well, 15, 20 more. But vaudeville had been canceled at the Sterling Theater in downtown Greeley. The manager said the quality of shows has been disappointing lately, and rather than charge customers for poor shows, they're canceling them altogether. That was kind of the circuit. Everything was going downhill from vaudeville
Why can't
to
they
burlesque.
just charge them less?
Well, they're probably charging 10 cents to begin with. We charge 8 cents.
Put your 2 cents in.
Yeah. Plus, the managers of the vaudeville circuits are charging what they're charging. So the theater, not sure how that whole system works, but anyway.
Sounds very sad.
Where's Edward Albee's father when you need him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway. Greeley police responded to a hardware store
Hold on.
on 11th Avenue for a report of a man, quote, not in a good state of mind.
Wait, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Not sure how they decided this, but a man not in a good state of mind who was dancing on a lift.
You know, that's like the lift,
Yeah.
I love that.
Sounds like he was in a-
dancing with myself. Maybe.
Yeah, if I saw somebody at a hardware store doing that, I think he was in a terrific state
It
of
would
mind.
be like that river dance for hardware people.
Yeah, I wish I were in that state of
Hardware
mind.
dance.
Yeah.
Maybe hardware dance.
And it's like, oh man, if I had a hammer.
Maybe he heard that the dentists don't call the thing a drill. He got excited.
It was like handpiece dance. I'm doing that handpiece dance.
My prophylaxis polishing paste.
Oh man. So what can I tell you?
I love it.
He has a hammer or a screwdriver and a box of screws, and you know what dance he's doing? The twist. That's a little joke there.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Nothing wrong with that. I think that's wonderful.
Unless he doesn't work there. That's a problem.
Oh, I imagine he doesn't work
Oh,
there.
okay, well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't just go to a store and start dancing on the equipment. I mean, that's not a pole dance, you know?
Oh, it could be if he's buying poles for like the shower and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Look who's here. Look who's here. Look what's coming up. Get the bell. Get the bell. Potato alert! Potato alert! Ladies and gentlemen, potato alert. Yay! Are you ready for this? It's an actual potato alert.
They're very excited.
2 LaSalle area potato pickers
Oh, no.
got into a fight in the fields yesterday.
Yeah.
One man was stabbed,
Yeah.
and the other arrested.
Great.
The stabbed man is recovering in the hospital.
This is a happy potato story. They don't like violence.
Well, maybe he was wearing this thing. You know, could have been one of the potato people was wearing this. and
no,
that's how the other guy.
you know, that's a...
Who would
habit.
fight over potatoes? I mean, I would fight over potatoes, I guess, but who would? You know, they're happy creatures.
Yeah, but who knows what went down in the field? We don't know.
Could have been a Mayochup versus ketchup fight. Don't worry about that. So maybe one guy said Mayochup, the other guy. You know how Fiddler on the Roof is horse mule?
Because it was so a long time ago. They didn't have Mayochups.
They had ketchup, or they probably had
Maybe
mayonnaise.
fry sauce Mayochups.
There we go. It was a
Maybe
very
one was from the UK.
ooh. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
Could have been a relish problem also. You never know with those people.
No, yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. Let's see.
Maybe beets or rutabaga.
Actually, you know what? You know, instead of tooth powder and tooth polish and prophylaxis paste, you know what they really ought to call toothpaste?
What?
Tartar sauce. Get it? Because you have the tartar. Yeah. And we should give it to Aki Waddles. You know why? So he could put it on his gum.
Poor Aki Waddles. Now, what a weird name.
I'm on today. I'm on.
Aki Waddles.
Welcome, by the way, to Michael and Jeffrey and David and Lorraine and Phyllis and Eric, all these people tuning in to the Dave's Gone By 16th anniversary Facebookio program of the stream. We are live, and it is October 6th, 2018, our 669th episode of the show. We're calling it Sweet 16,
I love that.
16 years ago today, we did this in a very different way for the very first time on the radio. So we welcome you all here. It is 2 minutes to 10 o'clock Mountain Time.
Remember, the studio was either very cold or super hot.
Oh, yeah, no, it was a mess. It was and that was the one in Limerick. Mm-hmm. You know, that was even before we moved to West Babylon.
Yeah.
But it was so much more convenient, though.
Oh, yeah.
I could just jump on a train at Lynbrook and be there in like 20 minutes and walk over. Later on, they moved all the way out to Babylon. I can drive.
Remember, it was near a bar and everyone kept getting food poisoning from it? Like, people would eat there and just get sick?
And that motorcycle was a biker bar, too. Yeah.
And, like, people would go, like, I'm going to go get fries. And they're like, oh. And then someone's like, I'm going to go get a hamburger. Oh. And then it would be like...
We ate there one time. I got massive diarrhea.
Yes. It was... I remember that. It was a very...
It was a benighted area of town, but that's how they could afford the rent for a while. And then they wanted to lump two radio stations together and just brought everything to Babylon. But so 16 years ago.
Because where else do you want to broadcast from but Babylon, right?
Yeah, right.
Babylon.
Considering the station. Yeah. Where good Babylon broadcasting begins. Anywho.
What else? Anything from Aki Mock or what's his name?
No more from Aki Waddles.
Aki Waddles.
But we do have a bit more of Greeley Crimes and Old Times to do, as well as Potato News. That's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So, police responded. And by the way, this wasn't me.
Okay.
Just letting you know, this wasn't me. Responded to 18th Street for a report of a man talking to and urinating upon himself.
It's the trifecta.
Yeah,
Talk to, urinate, and what's the other one?
No, that's just those two.
Just two. Okay, so it's the pairing.
He didn't hit the trifecta.
It's the
he was
pairing.
Talking to and peeing on himself.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And I don't know why they...
know?
Yeah, right? If a guy's peeing on himself, what would you even see? Like a little wet thing. And why would you bother him? If he was peeing on someone else.
I think it's just disgusting, no?
Yeah.
Maybe he's having a bad day.
He's drunk. He loses control of his whatever. Look at me. If he goes into a car, if I were a policeman, I would stop him.
Yeah.
Or if he goes up to me and says, and he starts peeing on me, I would ask the police to look into that.
Why don't they take him to the place where the guy's dancing on the forklift?
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, although you try to get pea stains out of woodwork.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway. That was a recent item. Let's
great.
see. Let's find an item that's probably rather old. The Weld County Garage placed a full-page ad in the newspaper urging residents to buy more war bonds. 1918. The motto, crush the Kaiser with your cash.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Crush the Kaiser with your cash.
Was that alliteration?
It sure is. Yeah. Pretty good one, I guess. Not all that funny, but just this idea of... if we ever go to war with North Korea, what would we say?
I want to do the yelling one. Where's the yelling
Make
one?
Kim Jong-il ill. Or put the un back in Kim Jong-un. I don't know what we would say about that. Let's crush Korea.
How about there's no fun?
There's no fun in un. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's not an alliteration, though.
Let's kick Kim.
It's hard to make an alliteration this hour of the day.
Let's junk jong. I don't know. Anyway.
Read more, honey. Read another.
All right. Okay. Let's see what else.
It's already 10:02, baby.
It is 10:02 in the morning in Washington, D.C. Ha! Check this out. 100 years ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but 100 years ago, this time, in Washington, D.C.
You look very pretty.
Why, thank you. These are you. The United States Senate voted 53 to 31 to not allow women to vote.
Yeah.
The suffrage bill needed a 3-2 majority, or 2/3 majority, to pass.
Yeah.
100 years ago, today, when they're voting on Judge Brett Kavanaugh for the U.S. And they're going to put him in, by the way. Murkowski didn't crumble, but Collins crumbled, flaked. He'll be in.
Wow.
He'll be in. So, the more things change,
yeah,
more things.
That's too depressing. Do some
Yeah,
happy
let's do something funny. All right,
Talk
please.
about Abby Fleckers or whatever his name is.
Aki Waddles!
Aki Waddles.
I love Aki Waddles. Let's make believe that this man is Aki Waddles.
Okay.
Even though it's 100 years later, let's make believe. Police responded to 8th Street, but 14th Avenue,
Getting close to the Nexus.
for a man sweating profusely and possibly buying drugs. Yeah. Why buy, unless it's Aki
How can you
Waddles.
tell somebody's sweating
No,
profusely?
you can tell somebody's sweating
I mean,
profusely.
you got to be pretty close, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. They should combine the men. Like the guy sweating profusely and peeing himself. It'd just be one long
Stream.
wet all the way down.
Stream, yeah, I like it.
Anyway. Oh!
What?
Oh!
What do you need?
Get it. This is exciting, ladies and gentlemen. We have... Oh, and we can also play this. Do. Here it is.
There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. Quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. Ain't nobody here but us.
Put on your finger.
Wait, I got more stuff.
Give it to me. I want to put on your finger.
Yeah, please do.
Here, give me a finger.
Ladies and gentlemen, although we do not have, as part of Greeley Clams and Old Times, a chicken alert, we have a chicken-like alert. Yes,
Look how cute he is.
Chicken-like. There he is.
He's so cute.
And not to mention, of course, our beloved Mrs.
Maybe
Bakabak.
that's her baby. Is that her baby?
Oh, speaking time.
Oh,
Hold on.
no, I think it's her grandchild, yeah. Oh, God. Wait. Wait. Okay, go ahead.
This is how birds do it, right? Anyway, we have a chicken-like alert. Police responded to 34 bypass and 11th Avenue
Yeah?
for a resident who
Yeah?
picked up,
Oh, God.
quote, a weird-looking chicken on the side of the road.
What was it?
Well,
Pigeon?
the caller said the bird didn't look like a chicken, but it clucked like one.
Then
What can one even...
And why would you pick that up?
Why would you... Well, if it's cute, why would you... Why did we get an alert? I don't know if we... Did we talk about this last time? Why didn't we get an alert?
Oh, the bat touching. Oh.
Yeah.
Why would you touch a bat? What is going on with people? These are wild creatures. Let them be.
Well, a turkey I'd pick up. If you saw a chicken wander, we won't pick up a chicken?
No.
Why?
Because it might be involved in chicken fighting. I don't want any bad chickens in my vicinity.
Okay. I'm not going to make the joke I run. Ow! I'm not going to make it. I'm being good. I know how you said chicken fight, too. So, but yeah,
Because I don't want you to go down the road.
As it were. No, but yeah, no, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but we got an alert from the police. Everyone at UNC.
That somebody Snapchatted it.
Yeah. That the day before... So it's a day later that the police are giving us this emergency notification.
Yeah.
That someone in the parking lot outside a building at this university...
No, not in the parking lot.
Oh, where
it
was it?
It was near, I think, Guggenheim.
Oh, no, it was near the softball fields.
No.
No?
The softball fields is where the cleaner found the one that was rabid.
So where was this?
They found the... You want me to look at it?
No.
They found... So somebody was, I think, near Guggenheim or Crab, one of the halls, and they took a picture of themselves, like, holding a bat.
Yeah. Now, again, this wasn't like a baseball bat.
And Snapchat disappears within, like, 24 or 48 hours, I think. My friend's obsessed with it now, so...
Yeah. But the thing was, some moron in the middle of the day finds a bat. A live... That kind of bat. Flopping around.
You talked about it, because remember you said it wasn't clear if it was a...
A baseball, yeah. So... Stop picking up animals.
And the good part is they Snapchatted it so people saw it, but then it disappeared so police couldn't find it.
Yeah, but the police, I don't know why I guess they just wanted to warn people, if you see a bat out in the daytime, I told a couple of months ago. I told this story. I was using the ATM at the Chase Bank downtown, and I'm looking to the side of the ATM on the wall, which is very close, and I'm seeing this fuzzy thing on the wall, and I go closer because I'm in kind of a moron myself, the curiosity there, and I look on the wall and I look at this thing. It's not even moving. It's just kind of there. And then I look a little closer. It's got these little webby toes, like suction cup toes. And I'm like, what the hell is a frog doing on the bank? And then I look a little closer and it's like, oh, it's because there's a frog. I want to pick it up and pet it. And then I was like, no, wait, maybe this is not a frog. Because it had sort of a triangular shape and it was black. And I was like, that is not a frog.
No.
That's smart me. I did not touch it.
You must have read the memo. You were informed.
I went into the bank.
Knowledge is power.
And I went to the teller. And I said to her, this is an unusual thing, but I was depositing checks or taking some money out. And could you come and take a look at this? I think there's a bat right by the ATM. And she comes out of the bank to take a look with me. And she didn't touch it.
She's smart.
She called building management.
There you go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you see a bat,
call your building management.
even at nighttime, just don't touch these. So, is a bat a marsupial or is it a rodent?
Oh, I don't know.
It's some other kind of thing.
It's like not even a real animal.
What? I don't know what that means. Oh, I do want to get one thing.
What?
I hope I brought it.
What?
Because I forgot to bring it last time and it's beautiful.
What is
Since we are doing Greeley Crimes at All Times, I mentioned the Greeley Tribune.
What is it?
This is, I hope this is what, yes it is.
What happened,
From the newspaper where we get this
column
where we get the info for this segment of the show. Even though they've been, I guess, firing people at the Greeley Tribune to save money. No, that's part two. Hold on. That's part of it.
Oh, you love the name.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this. It starts here, though. You know somebody's having a fabulous time at this newspaper, the Greeley Trib. This is from the sports section. And there happens to be, on the Denver Broncos, if you follow football, a tight end.
God.
I swear to you, he's a tight end.
Yeah.
And his name is Jake Butt.
Oh, God. He probably never got teased in school or anything. I'm sure he never got any kidding.
But all positions for this man to play, his name is Jake Butt. He's a tight end. And somebody at the Greeley Tribune had a great time writing this headline. Broncos butt hurt in practice. Yeah. I mean, and you can get away with that because it's absolutely true. It is 100% valid. But, yeah. And if you think they didn't know what they were doing when they were making that headline, they continue it later in the paper for part two of the story with butt injury leaves team thin at tight end. I cannot make this stuff up. I could make this stuff up, but I'm not making it up. Butt injury leaves team thin at tight end. Oh, joy. See, I try and tell my students there's creativity even in regular hardcore journalism, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, speaking of regular and irregular things, I want to remind you that this program is partially brought to you by the fine folks at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. They have been with us, speaking of, this is our 16th anniversary. They were with us from the very first program. The Torong family has owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman, that franchise, since the mid-1970s. And I've known the family. Miles, unfortunately, is gone. He passed away, but Carlene, his wife, is still there, and the two kids are running the show. The Torong family, they're great. And what are they great at? They're great at all these things and more. These are the services available at Minuteman Press in Hewlett, Long Island. They're about 3 blocks away from the LIRR station. They're across the street from the Giant Petco. They moved a couple of doors down from where they were for 30, 40 years, but they're still basically in the same place, doing the same fine quality work at Hewlett Minuteman Press. So here's let's pick a letter. Let's see, for our 16th anniversary today, Sweet 16, maybe the letter S. We always end up doing that one. But okay, let's do it. Among the things that you at Minuteman Press can do for you: scoring, screen printed apparel, scrolls, shipping, signs, all kinds of signs, skull caps. So if you're feeling in sort of a Jewish mode and you need a skull cap, you at Minuteman Press can make one for you, and of course put your company's logo, or if some kid's having a bar mitzvah, his name, the age, when he was born, the parents, all of that. Snapchat forms, spiral binding, software compatible forms, squeeze bottles and coolers, stamp pads, all kinds of stamps, and stationery, of course, business, personal, social, and wedding invitation stationery. That is just the letter S here for you at Minuteman Press. So do check them out. They are open 5.5 days a week, and they are reachable at 516-569-5577, 516-569-5577, and if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small, at Hewlett Minuteman Press. So they are the copy kings. And I feel king of the world when I do this Facebook/podcast/radio program, Dave's Gone By. Remember that you can listen to all the archives at davesgoneby.com. I know I mentioned that you can hear the first episode that we did of the show 16 years ago today. That's there for free. Download it, stream it, put it on your iPod. Give it a listen. It's and that back then it was 57 minutes long. We didn't just take half a day. So check it out. Our second program, alas, never recorded, but the third one did. And then hundreds of programs later, they're all there in the archives. All the great guests we've had. Ooh.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you say you actually put your face on camera. You're so pretty.
Because I was trying to get my thing. I want to make sure that nothing is bad happening there.
I hope nothing bad happened either.
No.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Good. So. Excellent. So let's finish up Greeley Crimes at All Times, and then it's time, of course, for Potato News.
I'll help you go, and then I got to go
record
my own video for La Escuela.
We have to. Here's the deal.
There ain't nobody here but us chickens.
On Greeley Crimes at All Times,
here at all.
Even though we spend most of this segment in Greeley, sometimes we go elsewhere. Sometimes we go a little bit farther afield for some odd news.
That's very true.
Dateline, Orlando, Florida.
Whoa.
A Florida woman who ordered a set, excuse me. Ooh.
A sketch? A Sasquatch?
Sorry. She ordered a set of Dr. Seuss books for her granddaughter.
That's so nice.
She said, the package finally arrived.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Whoa! We thought we had mail problems.
Yeah. Well, I mailed something to her parents like 3 weeks ago. Never showed up. Never arrived.
They got the envelope.
Yeah. They charged me $3.50 to mail this thing, and the envelope got torn up. Your parents finally this week get the package, which I tracked on, and they got an empty envelope.
Yeah.
That's our postal service working for us.
So what happened with
But for her, check this out. 20 years later, the books arrived. By the time the book, Vera Walker ordered the set of books in 1998 when her granddaughter was just 4 years old.
Aww.
By the time the books came, her granddaughter had her own 5-year-old son.
Oh my God!
The post
just
office,
in time. Just in time.
In a way.
Yeah.
But the post office explained that the box was found stuck inside an old mailbox. So someone went into the mailbox, and no problem, Walker is now reading the books to her great-grandson. Think about it.
No, not great. Her
great-grandson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a happy story. I like that.
Of course, because the books are now so old and so geriatric, some of their titles have changed since when they were first mailed out. So, for example, there's Horton Hears a Who. Mm-hmm. Is now Horton Doesn't Hear Anything and has cataracts.
That's horrible. Ageist.
The Cat in the Hat is now The Corpse in the Coffin.
Ageist.
There's green eggs but no ham because of the cholesterol.
Oh, I like that one.
That one you
funny.
like. Okay, yeah, that's funny. How the Grinch stole my identity at Walmart.
Oh, no, on the dark web.
On the dark web, yeah.
Make it contemporary.
Fox and Socks is now Fox and Corrective Footwear.
Support hose.
There's To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, but forgot it 5 minutes later. All right, that's ageist.
I don't know that one.
The $500 copay of Bartholomew Cubbins.
Oh, I like that one.
And its sequel, One Pill, Two Pill, Red Pill, Blue Pill.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That could be for even, what is that, Grace Slick?
McGilligan's Therapeutic Epsom Pool.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. You laughed through it.
Well, it's McGilligan's Pool,
Yeah.
and now it's McGilligan's Therapeutic Epsom Pool.
It should be warm, hot pool or something.
Yeah.
Heat pool, yeah.
And finally,
Yeah.
I had trouble getting to Sala Salou because I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh, that was trite, hacky.
And that, my friends, is Greeley Crimes and Old Times for this episode of Dave's Gone By.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi,
You don't have it in your armhole. What? That's your head hole. Get it out of there. Put your arm down. There you go.
Oh, this is my head
That's
hole.
your head hole. There
Oh, hello. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Greeley Crimes and Old Times on the Dave's Gone By Facebook program of the stream.
I'm going to go, baby. I love you.
Oh, you want to be here for Potato News?
I've got to go this way. Okay.
Okay.
I'll listen here.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening.
Because this is our 16th anniversary, and we're so excited about that, and because so many of our fans and listeners are of the Potato Kingdom, every week we also like to do Potato News, because, we get the human news. We can go to Yahoo or AP or the New York Times or the Denver Post and get all sorts of news for humans, but what about the news that affects our friends, our spuds, the potato?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we like to give you and them the potato news at least once or twice a month, just to keep you...
potato-related items come available.
Exactly. And wouldn't you know, these were late-breaking. Both of these came last night into the Daverhood of potato news items. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, potato news. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Good morning. This is Spudward R. Murrow with the Potato News for today, October 6th, 2018. Dateline Chinchero, Peru.
Oh, my goodness.
And a story from AtlasObscura.com. Manuel Choque Bravo is a fourth-generation potato farmer in the Andean highlands, and he's about to perform his magic show. He lines up multiple deformed tubers, indigenous to the area, best known for its proximity to Machu Picchu. Bravo slices his potatoes one by... This is scary. Quiet potato. He slices his potatoes one by one in half, to reveal a color spectrum of intense violet and gold hues.
Whoa! What's in there?
He knows to pause and let his audience savor their first glimpse of the beloved Papa Andina.
What's that?
Andy's
Papa
Andina.
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Bravo wants to change the world's view of tubers. People think the potato has no healthy properties, but the truth is far from that. He says, by creating unique potato hybrids packed with nutrients and flavor, Bravo, age 32, wants to change the world. In high school, Bravo wanted to pursue law, but one day he arrived late to school and ended up in the wrong class. I accidentally signed up for botany, and from that moment, I was hooked. I thought, wow, plants are just like the human body. They have veins.
Oh, God, honey. What was he? Was he taking some Andean drugs at that time?
Yeah, I think they have mushrooms and things like that in the Andes that he shouldn't have been poking around with, yeah. He then studied agricultural, which is very close to agricultural engineering at the Universidad San Antonio Abad. The article notes, if there's going to be an international center for potatoes, it ought to be in Peru. Estimates of the... Well, here, check this out. Estimates of the number of tuber varieties there fall between 3,000 and 5,000 types
that's crazy.
of taters. It's believed that the tuber was domesticated 8,000 years. Yeah, we learned to become friendly. Stop it, potato. They became domesticated 8,000 years ago on the mountain slopes near Lake Titicaca.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
Are they laughing?
Since then, Peruvians have embraced the potato in their cuisine with dishes such as calzas and papas a la huancaína, which is yellow potatoes in a spicy, creamy sauce. I'm sorry, potato. I know this is upsetting to you, but tasty. Potatoes are self-pollinated, kind of like nerdy boys in high school. This means taters have the male and female flowers in one plant.
Really?
Yeah, there's usually no crossbreeding, unless you intervene.
How can that be?
I don't know. Aren't there other things like that? Not worms, but who?
Oh, yeah. I've never heard about potatoes, though.
So, if you ever tell a potato, go screw yourself. He is. Where am I? Now, usually they don't crossbreed unless someone like Manuel Choque Bravo intervenes, which he did. He learned to do that meticulously. Bravo removes pollen from one potato flower and sprinkles it onto another variety's flower. Then he waits to see the resulting hybrid. Bravo's brother Elmer also helps, and together they have created 70 pigmented hybrid potatoes.
Wow.
Estas papas son especiales!
That's right.
Bravo declares passionately, and he's right. The purple variety is high in antioxidants, and the red one is loaded with vitamin E and vitamin C. I want to change the system, Bravo says. The whole world thinks potatoes are just to fill up the belly. That's a lie!
Oh, no?
Exciting stuff here.
What's it for, then?
Well, in other words, he's filling it with antioxidants and vitamins.
Oh, that's true.
So that they can be a healthy dish.
It's like our eggs that are enriched with vitamin D. I like that.
Yeah.
Can we get some of those potatoes?
Yeah, he gives them to gourmet restaurants all over Peru and all over the world.
Us?
Yeah, well, I'd love to see them. Dateline, Washington, D.C. It was a big week in the nation's capital, and I think you know why.
Why?
Yes, on Thursday, the Washington Post ran a story judging whether Mayochup measured up to other kinds of dipping sauces. If you recall from last week, Mayochup is Heinz's big rollout of ketchup mixed with mayonnaise. The idea is to create an equivalent to international fry sauce and also further take on Hellmann's in the mayo market. The Washington Post story noted that Mayochup might be reminiscent of Thousand Islands dressing, only without the relish and onions. Though the idea for Mayochup originated in Argentina in 1925.
Really?
Yes, see.
Uh-oh.
I should say see.
See.
Puerto Ricans perfected it as their salsa rosada.
Yeah, pink sauce, red sauce.
Or the even more delicious sounding mayo ketchup.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, mayo ketchup, get it?
Mayo ketchup, yeah.
Goya has been making the stuff for years.
Yeah, then why isn't Goya suing Heinz?
I don't, well, there's no patent on mixing ketchup and mayonnaise.
Maybe there is.
Maybe there is. So, and folks in Utah, they've been using fry sauce for decades as well. So the article in question in the Washington Post pitted Mayochup versus Goya's mayo ketchup versus Haier's Big H hamburger and fry sauce.
Uh-oh.
The results. Heinz Mayochup is more mayonnaise-y than ketchup-y. It's fairly mild, and it does work well on burgers. Goya's sauce has more cool ingredients like garlic, paprika, and lime juice, and it's great on fries. Haier's Big H fry sauce is the most tomato-y and probably better for fries than burgers. No, Haier's. Like Haier's who makes the root beer? Yeah. The article speculates whether, in a decade, Mayochup will become commonplace or a forgotten one-hit wonder. Kind of like Heinz when they experimented a decade ago with purple and green ketchup. Let's not go there.
Ew.
I know. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in Colorado. If you are in Colorado, today in Carbondale is Potato Day. It's parades.
Are we going to go?
Well, it's always Potato Day somewhere.
Let's go.
Let's go to Carbondale. Let's leave right now. Everybody go to Carbondale and celebrate.
Where is Carbondale?
I have to figure it out.
Okay. We can't go then.
No. But, dress warmly, ladies and gentlemen, because here's your weather report. A chill is in the air as autumn arrives in Potato Land. Sun and clouds today give way to rain and clouds and temperatures in the 40s throughout midweek. By Friday, we might even see some overnight snow showers. So bundle up, tubers, and store that starch for the winter. This has been the Potato News with me, Spudward R. Murrow. Good night and good growth. Potato News here in the Daverhood on Dave's Gone By, live with you on this Saturday, October 6th, 2018, our 669th episode of the show. You're watching us on our Facebook page, Radio Dave Lefkowitz. Remember to find out more about the program at davesgoneby.com. Remember also you can email me, davesgoneby@aol.com. And what else can you do? Well, I have a Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. That's Radio Dave, the number 2. I think that'll do it. All that information, do check it out, and do tell your friends, your family. I mean, we're here 16 years. We want more and more people watching. I love it when all these folks tune in. Michael and Jeffrey and David and Lorraine and Phyllis and Eric and Walker and, the folks who tuned in earlier as well and are still hopefully with us, like Stan and David, two Davids, and Carol and Leeson and Stan and Vaughn and so many great folks who are joining us in the Daverhood for segments like Saturday Segues, for a segment like Dave's Big Dictionary coming up with the word Marshall. We'll also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned and anything else we got on StoryTime. Yes, more of Bill Cosby's lovely book, Little Bill and the Meanest Thing to Say. But the nicest thing I have to say right now, first of all, is to thank my darling, beautiful, and adorable wife, Joyce, for joining me in the Daverhood today, and for our 16th anniversary. I love you, hon.
Pictures.
What? Oh, sorry?
I'm looking at pictures.
Oh, she's looking at pictures, but is, I can't tell you how helpful it is to have her on Saturday mornings, helping me set up the show, get out of the house, get this going, and then stay with me and have so much fun. Just bantering and then going into Greeley Crimes and Old Times. So thank you for our 20 years of married life and our 16 years.
Am I married to?
You are indeed. You're bad luck.
People send me crazy stuff.
Like what? What somebody send you?
I can't even repeat it.
Oh, okay. Don't. Anything about merkins?
Oh no.
Okay. And yes, and I also want to thank moop-moop for joining us today. Our brand new addition to the Daverhood on some level. Moop-moop from Uranus, who might be a merkin. Don't even want to know. And the Grand Knish.
I don't know that word.
The Grand Knish was very, very proud and happy that we had Potato News today. So,
okay, honey, I love you. I'll see you later.
Love you too, sweetie. I'll give you a buzz when I'm done, or let me know what's happening.
I'll probably be working on my case study still.
Cool.
And my video and such. Now you can pick me up this evening.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll keep in touch after the thing. Love you, sweetie. Thank you.
I love you too, David. Have a wonderful show. Happy Quinceañera +1.
Yeah, sí. Gracias. It is our Quinceañera. That's right. So, one thing that I do love to do on basically every single program, because I am a theater person, an actor, a director, a playwright, and also a theater journalist for many, many years. I love Broadway. I love the theater, and I think it's important to talk about and just let people know what's out there, what's happening on stage in New York and sometimes Colorado as well. So that's why we go inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Inside Broadway we go, ladies and gentlemen, to talk theater. Hope you like it. Hope you enjoy this segment as much as I enjoy doing it. And have some news items for you, and a very happy one, and a very good one, I think. We talked a couple of weeks ago about a pilot program that the Theater Development Fund was doing in New York, where at one of their booths, one of their half-price so-called tickets booths, and I think it was the one downtown, they, instead of saying what the percentage discount was, so let's say you want to buy a ticket to a Broadway show, and you get up to the booth, and it says, oh, this show is 40% off, this show is 30%, this one's 50%. And you kind of had to just go on faith of what it would actually cost. Now, because tickets are so insanely expensive, maybe they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, or maybe the Attorney General asked them to do it. But now, TDF and the tickets booth will not just put up the percentage, but they're actually going to show the price that you will have to pay when you stand on that line, when you get up to that booth, and you say, may I please have an available ticket to Bernhardt Hamlet, to Wicked, if there's anything available up there, to The Nap, to whatever show on Broadway that you're thinking of going to see, right? So now you get the price, and the absolute full final price, including fees. So that is really the good news. Theater Development tried that. It apparently worked, and now they're going to do it at all their places, including the big one in Times Square by that staircase. It will have the exact discount ticket prices on the boards there and at the South Street Seaport. So, and this is great, because when you're standing on the line or thinking of whether to go and stand on the line and get tickets, you can go on your phone, you can go on your computer, and they will show the prices at tdf.org /TKTS Live. tdf.org, TKTS Live. So that's all the good news. That's fantastic. It's an informed consumer. Knowing and not getting sticker shock, because you'll see, oh, wow, 40% off. And then you realize that the ticket was $250 to begin with, and you're still getting soaked. So at least it's caveat emptor before you get to the window. And I'm sure this is good for letting the line move too. And it's good for people trying to get things going at the booth, because you don't get, or you'll have much less of, people coming up to the booth saying, oh, wow, cool, 40% ticket off to go see, I don't know, what's a current Broadway show? Maybe want to see maybe Come From Away, or Dear Evan Hansen, I doubt there are tickets available for that, or The Band's Visit, or let's see, Summer, the Donna Summer musical, any one of the 30 or so shows currently playing on Broadway. I say, let me have 40% off ticket, please. And then they tell you what it is, and now you suddenly get the people who were just going to pay and go, and then they hear the actual ticket price, and they go, oh, wait a minute, do you have anything cheaper? And now they're holding up the line, and now they're deciding whether or not to stay or go, and the TKTS people just want to move the line along, because it's there for a transaction. It's not like the old days, when I first started using the tickets booth back in college, and you go up there, and you would decide whether to spend $10 or $15 or $20 to see something. Not the prices they have now. And that is the bad news. Because even now that they're showing what the tickets booth prices are, your eyes are going to bug out. Because, and I looked at these on the web for like 2 days ago. For example, last Monday afternoon, and there aren't that many shows that play on a Monday night, but last Monday, you could buy tickets to Chicago half price, right? The cheapest half-price tickets listed at the booth were $77 to $111, because it was a 30% discount. $77 for the crap cheap tickets to Chicago, waiting online at the booth. Is that scary to you? 50% discount for Once on This Island ticket, $92. I can't imagine those are all the seats. I can't begin to fathom. You could probably buy a $100 ticket to Once on This Island just by going up to the box office. Why would you get a $92 half-price ticket at the tickets booth unless it's like the most perfect seat in the house? Avenue Q, off-Broadway, was $64. I don't know how many fees they're piling into that. A terrible show that I actually saw off-Broadway last time I was in New York, called The Imbible, which is this stupid, bad piece of stuff about just the history of how alcoholic drinks were made, and you actually get a couple of really terrible drinks to drink. That's $49 and that's 50% off. The lowest. So here's what I don't understand also. The lowest tickets on the Imbible site, like the official website for that show, are $85. So those are the cheap tickets there, are $85. So why are the seats at the tickets booth $49? Shouldn't they be closer to like $42.50, unless there's a $5 service charge now on what they're charging? And oh my God, the cheapest Broadway show on the tickets booth was School of Rock, with tickets running from $62 to $82 for half-price tickets to these shows. Now, I am hoping that Theater Development Fund, when they send out those mailers on shows, when things are in previews or running a very long time, that those are significantly cheaper than all those rates. And, of course, people have other ways and means to join some of these websites. You join audience extras or theater extras, and you get tickets much, much cheaper than that, but they're not always available. I'm just staggered that you can't get a better deal now at the tickets booth. And then there ought to be like a subsidiary tickets booth, like a last 5 minutes booth, where you can run in and everything's $30. Right, or $40 if it's a musical. Just, boom, 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 boom. And under this $80, $100 for a half-price ticket. It's nuts. It's nuts. But anyway, at least there's more truth in advertising. At least the consumers are more informed. Okay, some other news. Got news of a Broadway show being announced this week. That will be happening soon. In fact, this spring, Broadway will see the satirical play Hillary and Clinton. Not Hillary and Bill, but Hillary and Clinton, as a satire by Lucas Nath. Now, he got a lot of kudos last year for his play A Doll's House Part 2, that ran on Broadway with Laurie Metcalf. Well, Laurie Metcalf is back, and she's going to be in this show called Hillary and Clinton. It's directed by the ubiquitous and multi-award-winning Joe Mantello. As a matter of fact, he directed Three Tall Women that Metcalf was in this past season. So this show will be opening April 18th. They haven't picked the theater yet, or they have picked the theater and they can't announce it because there's a show still running there, and it's bad form to announce a new show in a theater that is running a show that's supposedly in an open run. But anyway, Hillary and Clinton coming to Broadway with Laurie Metcalf playing Hillary and John Lithgow playing Bill. And it's all about the former First Lady's run for president. So some topical shows on Broadway coming up, Hillary and Clinton, this spring. We'll let you know that there may be, the scuttlebutt the rumor is, that they're going to replace one rock-oriented show with another. So Springsteen on Broadway, it's been playing a year. It's amazing. He's been doing this now for a year. His incredibly acclaimed one-man show opened back on October 12th, 2017 at Broadway's Walter Kerr Theater. And it's going to be playing there until late in December. As a matter of fact, the final show, they're going to show on Netflix and tape it so everybody can ultimately get to see it in another venue. But that show will close in December, and producers are now very seriously thinking about moving, well, how do you top Bruce Springsteen? With Bob Dylan. They're going to take the acclaimed Bob Dylan show that's at the Public Theater now called Girl from the North Country, and just got extended through late November at the Public. And it's all about, it's taking Bob Dylan songs and plugging them into the context of really hard-scrabble people having a rough life trying to get along in, like, coal mining, West Virginia area, America. A real Americana kind of show. Not so much rocky as kind of folky music, but also, it's not just Dylan songs from his early protest music period, but it's through all of Dylan's career. But anyway, it got great reviews in London. It opened off Broadway a couple of weeks ago, got mostly good reviews there. Some critics really hated it, but a lot of critics think it's a major work and worth seeing. And it's kind of sold out, so the producers are really thinking, even though the show is very dark and very grim that it might have a shot on Broadway, and they're talking seriously about moving it to the Walter Kerr Theater in the spring once Bruce Springsteen goes away. But anyway, that's just the scuttlebutt on Broadway. Now, if you want to know both the scuttlebutt of Broadway, the gossip, and what's happening there moment to moment, week to week, month to month, you want to get to Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. This is the journal, the magazine that people in the entertainment industry turn to when they want to know the details of every single show on, off, and off Broadway. What do I mean by that? Let's go through this real quick. Second page, table of contents, masthead information for sure. Then a guide to the Broadway season. All the shows that are still currently playing, all the shows when they're opening on Broadway, and a little map of the Broadway district. That's on one page. Then we've got a guide to Broadway theaters and their tenants. Every single Broadway venue. The address. Which company owns it? Is it Jew Jamson? Is it the Schuberts, the Niederlanders? How many seats does it have? And what shows are in them when they're opening and closing, and what shows are going to be planned to be in them in the weeks and months ahead. Press agents on the next page, how you contact them, all the folks who handle the shows playing in those theaters. Then a list of every single Broadway show, previews, opening, and closing dates, and where they are, and the press agents handling them. Same thing, and you can't find this anywhere else, for every off and off Broadway show. List after list after list. A guide to awards in the theater and special events. For example, this one has the American Theater Wing Gala. There's also the Broadway Flea Market and Grand Auction that we talked about a week or two ago. And then more awards and special events. And then the meat of the magazine, the heart of the magazine, our guide to current shows on Broadway. All the information. Let's just pick one, shall we? I mentioned Come From Away before, because actually the folks who wrote it were on our Tony Award special a few months ago. Look at this. I'll bring it as close to the computer as I can. You have the people who wrote it, how to contact them, David Hine and Irene Sankoff. You've got the set designer, the lighting designer, sound designer, casting people, it's Telsey and Company, the current cast of the show, the awards that it won, Drama Desk, Tony Awards, other things like that. A bit about the plot, notes about the show, where it tried out, and then look at all these. That is just a list of all the producers of the show and how to contact them. So, Broadway shows used to have one or two producers above the title. Now they've got dozens. How do you contact them? Maybe you have an idea for a show and you want to start raising money. How do you do it? Whose pockets do you pick? It's these folks. How do you reach them? There's the press agent for the show, who put out the original cast album, how much money did the show cost to capitalize, the theater that it's in, here it is, and then the dates that it opened. It's currently in an open run. Imagine that for every single show on Broadway and off Broadway too. Every show, all of that information. You cannot get that info anywhere else but in the pages of Performing Arts Insider. It's got an index in the back. It even has a cabaret section for people who like the nightlife. Nowhere else. How do you get this magazine? Pretty simple. Go online. Go to performingartsinsider.com. performingartsinsider.com. All the info is there. You can buy either the full season of 21 issues or just get the monthly edition once a month. Either way, it's an expensive publication, no question, but those people who subscribe renew year after year because they can't get this anywhere else in this way. You can open 100 windows on your computer and still not find all the information that they have in Performing Arts Insider. You can also, if you're in New York, pick up a copy, a single copy, on the stands at the Drama Bookshop and also Theater Circle in Midtown in the West 40s. Performing Arts Insider, it's the Bible of Broadway. And by the way, the folks who publish Performing Arts Insider, that's Total Theater. They're a wonderful organization, and they have a website of their own called TotalTheater.com, which is free, and it is full of theater reviews and articles. You can even click, you can go to the homepage of TotalTheater.com, and there's a link where you can see every single review ever written on the site. I mean, not the entire review, a hyperlink to each review alphabetically. And there's almost 6,000 of them on there. all for you to use for research, for your entertainment, to find out, hey, my local theater is doing a production of this show. I wonder if there's any old reviews of it when it was off Broadway, or when it was playing in Cleveland, or when it was playing in Los Angeles, or playing in Milwaukee. TotalTheater.com is the place to go. Do check it out. Well, we're checking out Broadway news items here on Dave's Gone By in our Inside Broadway segment. I mentioned the show that is definitely coming to Broadway in the spring called Hillary and Clinton. There's another show that is probably coming to Broadway in the fall. So about a year from now, they haven't set the theater or the actual dates yet, but it looks like the Tina Turner show, a show called Tina, about the life of the great Tina Turner, that will reach Broadway in fall 2019. The book is by Katori Hall. She wrote a popular play called The Mountaintop about Martin Luther King a few years ago, and it's directed by Phyllida Lloyd. She's more known in England than here, except for one little musical that she directed called Mamma Mia. So she'll be directing this Tina Turner musical, which has very strong plans to come to Broadway next fall. And I want to let you know that the York Theatre Company, and we like the York Theatre Company here, not just because they're good and they do they do a real service off-Broadway of bringing back musicals that are underappreciated or kind of forgotten, and give them another airing sometimes. We also like them because Jim Morgan, the artistic director and their set designer, was a friend of the Daverhood about a decade ago. So we follow the York Theatre, and we want to let you know it's kind of cool. They've announced their annual Musicals in Mufti series. So they take these lesser-known former Broadway shows, sometimes off-Broadway as well, and stage them in a bare-bones way. So it's a cross between a full staging and a concert reading. They call them Musicals in Mufti. You might think of them as Encores Light. So they've announced a slate of 3 shows that they'll be doing over the next few months, and all 3 of them are dedicated to Alan J. Lerner, the book writer and lyricist, the guy who is best known for a couple of shows called Camelot and My Fair Lady. Well, the York isn't doing those. They're doing some lesser-known forgotten shows by Alan J. Lerner with other people. For example, in 1979, he did a show called Carmelina with music by Burton Lane. And it's all kind of a lighthearted show about an Italian woman who cons U.S. GIs into believing they're the dads of her daughters. If you want to know where Mamma Mia got its plot from, probably kind of got it from Carmelina. Anyway, the show flopped on Broadway in 1979, and it ran only 2 weeks, and yet in those 2 weeks, the score of the show, with lyrics by Alan J. Lerner, was Tony nominated. And the York Theatre's revived this one a couple of times, so they know they've got a good property there. Check out Carmelina. That will be coming to Musicals in Mufti in the months ahead, in January, as a matter of fact. And then in February, this is a show that I actually saw. It's called Dance a Little Closer. It was back in 1983, so I wasn't even a theater critic yet. I was a college student going to shows through TDF, through the tickets booth, or in this case, my dad, I think, had someone in the office who got a pair of tickets to it for some reason. A show called Dance a Little Closer, and check out the cast of this show. It had Len Cariou, George Rose, Liz Robertson, and Allison Reed. Now, Allison Reed you might remember from the Chorus Line movie. She was the one playing Cassie. And Liz Robertson, not really well known, but she became Mrs. Alan J. Lerner. In fact, she was the 8th, at last, Mrs. Alan J. Lerner. So I remember this. I went to see, my God, 1983, 35 years ago, going to see the show with my dad, sitting there, hearing the overture, watching Len Cariou come out and do a very catchy opening number, and then about 15 minutes later, looking at my dad and thinking and realizing, before I was deconstructing plays, before I, again, graduated from college, become a theater critic and written hundreds, if not thousands of theater reviews, and written some more plays of my own, I sat there and just in my gut knew, oh boy, this is a flop. This is not good. Something is really wrong here. And the music seemed okay, but the book was bad. And I just sat there, and then I literally, at intermission, turned to my dad, and I think I whispered something like, "That's our Hitler!" A reference which I'm sure you all know to the producers, because I just knew that no matter the talent that was up there, no matter the credits of the people involved, and I was too young to be in that mode of a real theater person who would just see Len Cariou on stage and go, "Oh my God, it's Len Cariou, George Rose, the guy from Pirates of Penzance." I was too young for that. I just wanted to go see a great show, and I wasn't given one. Or even the idea that Alan J. Lerner had written My Fair Lady, which I knew. I knew the songs from My Fair Lady, even back then. And yet I was like, okay, he did that. Now let's see what he's doing now. It wasn't that sense of, ooh, this is the latest work by a legend of the theater, Alan J. Lerner. What's he doing? So we sat there watching Dance a Little Closer, which one of the critics literally called Close a Little Faster. And it did. It closed on opening night. My dad and I saw it on the last week of previews before it opened. And it was this dumb plot and dislikable rich people. Len Cariou played, I don't even really remember this, but he played a con artist guy who was trying to romance this woman who she seems to be an heiress and an aristocrat, but she's a phony too. And meanwhile, this is all happening in a hotel just about the time that Armageddon is supposed to happen. The world is about to end. That was the plotting of this show. But I do remember that some of the music was nice. And as I said, the opening number is pretty catchy. And so I was like, okay, at the end of it, I looked at my dad. I think he liked it a little bit more than I did, but I think we both knew this is not going to stick around. We didn't know it would close on opening night. But that was Dance a Little Closer. And so if you're curious, and I have to admit, I am curious now. If I happen to be in New York in February, and I might be, I might go see the York Theater's Mufti revival of Dance a Little Closer, just to see, and they've tinkered with the book, I'm sure, or maybe just chopped out whole swaths of the book and they'll do mostly the score, which would be really cool and interesting. I'm tempted. I don't know. And speaking of the Mufti series, one last one that they're doing in March is, honest to God, this was a musical that did not make it to New York. It closed in Boston in 1971. The music was by John Barry. The book, as we said, by Alan J. Lerner. They made the musical Lolita, My Love. Now, it's funny, and yet I've done this spiel before, that to make fun of any idea becoming a musical is pointless. But who would think the life of Alexander Hamilton would make a good thing for a musical, or 1776, all these men trapped and arguing about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence? Well, who would think that would be a musical? And yet, 1776 has become a classic. On Broadway, a decade or so ago, James Lapine and a couple of other people turned a James Joyce short story into a musical. It was called The Dead. James Joyce's The Dead, the musical. You can't find a worse thing to turn into a musical than James Joyce's The Dead. And yet, they did, and it was actually very good. There was some traditional Irish songs woven into the fabric of a story that takes place in a dinner party. Well, if you have a dinner party and you have all these guests, you do have the makings of a musical. Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Who would turn that into a musical? So to say that Lolita, they turned La Strada, the Fellini film, into a musical. But it's such a sad thing with a tragedy. But wait, no, it's a circus and a strongman and travelers and eccentric characters. And there's not a romance for the leads, but there is a love story there. So why not? Well, it's only after it doesn't work that you look back and you go, who would make this a musical, right? So Lolita, My Love, with a book by Alan J. Lerner and lyrics by Alan J. Lerner, not so far removed from the years when he had written still Camelot and My Fair Lady. So, and On a Clear Day, You Can See Forever. So, really, as I said, really interesting musicals in Mufti series coming from the York Theater in January, February, and March. 3 Alan J. Lerner shows. Be there or be square. Now I've been talking about Dance a Little Closer. They did put out a cast album, which is rather miraculous. If it hadn't been an Alan J. Lerner show, they probably wouldn't have bothered. But because of his name and because of the people involved, they did in 1983. So even though it ran one night, there is a cast album of Dance a Little Closer. Let's hear a bit of the finale of that show.
Dance a little closer, like it used to be.
You know, actually, when I was looking that up on YouTube and other sites and looking up that show, someone wrote, you know what, going by the cast album, and this is someone who did not see the original production, but going by the cast album of that, I would rather listen to that old-fashioned, real Broadway kind of songwriting and show tune writing than some of the other shows that have been so acclaimed, like Titanic, and I forget what other productions that writer mentioned. And there's something to it. There's something to masters, even not at their best, still knowing the craft of what they do. I gotta listen to that Dance a Little Closer cast album a bit more. But anyway, what you should be listening to a bit more is this Facebook program of the stream, Dave's Gone By, our 16th anniversary episode today, right now, because it's October 6th, 2018, and 16 years ago we began this program on Long Island Commercial Radio. Here we are, we've come so far in the Daverhood. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way, host and producer of the program, and it's wonderful that all the folks tune in here on Saturdays from 9 until noon, or thereabouts, Mountain Time, or 11 until 2 Eastern Time. Welcome, by the way, to Phyllis and Eric and Walker and Bruce and all the folks who've tuned in over the past 2 hours. Are we done? Because it's 11 o'clock here, Mountain Time. Oh, no, we have another hour or so to go of more great stuff. We've got a Saturday Segue. We're going to go through Dave's big dictionary for the word Marshall. That's my word to talk about. Think of something to talk about. I mentioned the Saturday Segue, and story time. How can I forget? Part 2 and the exciting finale of the Bill Cosby book, Little Bill, The Meanest Things to Say. All of that coming up on Dave's Gone By. But before that, since we've just done the theater, since we're being so cultural and high-toned, I feel it's important and incumbent upon us to be poetic, to do a little bit of poetry on the program. Now, we don't have time to read whole long Robert Service poems the way Gene Shepard used to, or start doing Ozymandias, or, Dickinson wrote pretty short, but doing poems by Lois Gould or whoever else, Carl Sandburg. No. Original poems here about Colorado, since we're emerging out of Greeley, Colorado, and short. Limericks, 5 lines long, and not only short and brief, but also really offensive and disgusting, because the idea of a limerick is to hit you on some level with either a punchline or something that makes you go, oh, wow, ooh, that's nasty. I like to do that, ladies and gentlemen. So, you're going to, for just a moment, before we start story time, you might want to get the kids out of the room for this Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And our Limerick place, by the way, today, sounds like it should be California, but no, it's Colorado. It's Buena Vista.
You're the poetry man.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain, Colorado, 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 Colorado,
Dirty, dirty, oh, dirty indeed. So we go to the lovely sounding Buena Vista, Colorado, for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned today, October 6th, 2018. Let me tell you a little bit about Buena Vista. It is a town of about 2,500, so it's kind of a small place. First settled back in 1864. They found that it was really good land for agriculture, which helped carry the town through both good and lean times. And now it's known for camping and hiking trails, and they have 2 hot springs there. This is kind of Coloradans being as we are. Like the whole rest of the world and everywhere else in America calls Colorado, Colorado, or the Spanish would probably say Colorado, Colorado, but we say Colorado. And I don't even know why I say we. I've only lived here 9 years, but that's the way we pronounce it. Colorado. Buena Vista people sometimes pronounce it Buena Vista. I kid you not. Buena Vista, or they just abbreviate it to BV. According to the Chamber of Commerce, upcoming events in Buena Vista, Colorado include baby sign language, reading with your puppy, American Legion bingo, and rather incongruously, women in science and their discoveries, a lecture. So they're trying over there in Buena Vista. I'm sorry. For me, it's Buena Vista. Isn't that where Walt Disney came out of it in California, where you see the rockets and the castle and everything? But anyway, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a poem, a short offensive poem about Buena Vista, Colorado. For raping a girl and her sister, a pedophile from Buena Vista was thrown into Rikers with big hairy bikers, and now he takes dicks up his keister. That could have been the Bruce Kavanaugh story, Brett Kavanaugh story, ladies and gentlemen. But no, it's our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Write your complaint letters to me, davesgoneby at AOL.com. And by the way, if you want to see more of my limericks, because we've been compiling them, as well as, I mentioned before, I'm a theater critic, all my theater reviews, or bunches of them anyway, stories that I've written, some of my full-length and one-act plays, all the songs I've written over the years. Well, there's actually a website for that. I don't mention it enough, but it is davelefkowitz.org. So, like my name, davelefkowitz.org. Tons and tons of reading pleasure and sometimes pain at davelefkowitz.org. Well, that was our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Now we mercifully move on to something else. Maybe not so merciful. Ladies and gentlemen, months ago, I started a segment out of the blue just because I found a book in my local service station, and it was a children's-oriented book, probably from the 8 to 12, 13 range, called A Cow for Hansel. And we spent weeks and weeks reading that marvelous story. And then we've done one or two more since then. Well, story time it is. So bring the kids back into the room, because, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a new, part 2 of our story.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story. Remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
So as promised, I will tell you a story. And the story that we've been telling last week, and then we will finish up. We will get to the finale this week of Bill Cosby, his Little Bill book series, The Meanest Thing to Say. So now what's happening here, if you missed the first installment last week, you've got Little Bill, this character that Bill Cosby invented, maybe somewhat based on him as a child, before he was a molester of sorts, was this nice black kid growing up named Little Bill. And Little Bill's a good child. He likes playing basketball, he goes to school, and then this bullying kind of kid, this kid who says mean things, starts picking on him and picking on his friends. So, I forgot the kid's name. I've already forgotten from last week. He's got a teacher. Then this new boy, Michael Riley. Michael Riley is picking on him and some of the other kids, and Little Bill's cousin, Fuchsia. There she is. Fuchsia, also there on the basketball court. Why they're playing basketball court under a full moon, I'm not sure. And Michael is taking on this girl. And he makes fun of Little Bill, saying, "You shoot like a girl." And then, of course, Fuchsia takes a basketball shot. She shoots like a girl, but in a good way. But this embarrasses Michael Riley, and he's like, "Tomorrow, I'm coming after you." Let's see. And then Little Bill comes home. he talks to his parents. He's kind of upset about the basketball contest and stuff at school, about doing the dozens, really. It's about coming up with mean things to say to other people. Well, okay. Now we get finally to Chapter 3 of Little Bill. The next day, Michael was waiting for me in the schoolyard, and I was ready for him. "You smell like old egg salad," Michael started. Oh boy, that's harsh. That's a tough one. I think a couple of senators put that out there this morning during the voting on Judge Brett Kavanaugh, saying each other smelled like old egg salad. "You smell like old egg salad," Michael started. "So?" I said. Now, that's really funny if you read last week's part, because that was what Little Bill's father was jokingly saying. "So, you're a stupid nerd who looks like a slimy slug." Some alliteration there in the Bill Cosby book. That's what Michael is saying. Little Bill replies with, "So? You're a teacher's pet with bugs living in your hair," said Michael. I thought that was funny, and I laughed. And I said, "So?" Yeah, this is kind of infuriating. If I were Michael Riley, I'd start beating the shit out of Little Bill right about now. Soon the other kids were laughing, and Michael was getting angry. "This isn't how you play the game. You have to call me names. Call me stupid. Call me mean. I'm ugly," Michael yelled. I laughed harder. He was funny. "So?" Michael yelled even more. This is like Brett Kavanaugh on the stand. "You're supposed to be getting angry. You should be crying by now. What's wrong with you anyway?" "You're funny," I said, and then the bell rang. "I'm going inside," Michael said as he ran off. I looked at Andrew, his friend Andrew. "So?" we said at the same time, and we laughed. That must be Andrew right here, who later, I guess, became Carrot Top. And there's Michael running off, kind of being pissed off, and these other kids laughing. Haha. Let's see. And then we walked to our classroom. Michael was sitting all alone at his desk. I kind of liked him, and I felt sorry for him. Now, that is just bullshit. If someone is making your life miserable, and even if he's not physically pounding on you, you might feel sorry for a bully, but you're not going to kind of like this person who's been tormenting you. I'm sorry, you would rather put a shiv between his shoulder blade and his neck. That's just me. Anyway, Little Bill goes up to Michael and says, "We're playing basketball during recess. Do you want to play?" I asked. "Sure," Michael said quietly. "You can be on my team," Andrew said. "He's a lousy player," I said, grinning at Andrew. Michael smiled too and said, "So?" We all laughed together. And outside, I held out my hand. Let's see the little visual here. And Michael gave me a high five. Now, the scary part is, since this book is written by Bill Cosby, we're not quite sure where Little Bill's other hand is going, on either Michael or perhaps his cousin Fuchsia, who was drugged earlier in the book. So, but anyway, that's it. That is the meanest thing to say. Why don't we read the bios of the people involved in this book? It's a nice book, I have to say. But Varnetta P. Honeywood did the illustrations, which, as I said last time, are kind of Horace Pippin-ish. She's a graduate of Spelman College and the University of Southern California. She's a Los Angeles-based impressive genre painter. Don't even know what that is. Her work is included in many collections throughout the United States, Japan, and Africa. She's appeared on adult trade book jackets and in a children's book called Shake It to the One That You Love the Best. I repeat, here's a cartoonist who was working with Bill Cosby, and she did the illustrations, here she is, for a children's book called Shake It to the One That You Love the Best. Nothing really to say about that. Okay, and hey, this guy, you know him, there he is. He's not even wearing a sweater. He's got a shirt like I do. Bill Cosby is one of America's best-loved storytellers. known for his work as a comedian, actor, and producer. His books for adults include Fatherhood, Time Flies, Love and Marriage, knows a bit about that, and Childhood. He holds a doctoral degree in education from the University of Massachusetts. Okay, that's not nothing that I can make fun of there. Oh well. Oh well. Maybe we might find something funny though. Other books in the Lil Bill series. Let's see some titles of these Bill Cosby related books, shall we? All the Meanest Things to Say. Well, we know that one. The Best Way to Play. Best way to play. Well, first you shave off a pill in the girl's drink. No, Little Bill and his friends want the new Space Rangers video game, but their parents won't buy it. How can Little Bill and his friends have fun without it? Get the girls come over. Okay, The Treasure Hunt. Little Bill searches his room for his best treasure. What he finds is a great big surprise between his legs. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Little Bill Cosby, the meanest thing to say, here on Dave's Gone By, where it has been story time in the Daverhood. Well, we are in the midst of our 16th anniversary episode of Dave's Gone By, our 669th broadcast of the show. And although my darling and adorable wife joined us early in the program, and although moop-moop from Uranus is with us, and, of course, Mrs. Bakbagak joined us early in the show for a chicken alert. And the Grand Kanish and all the other potatoes join us every week here in the Daverhood. We don't have, quote-unquote, a special guest this week. I just wanted to do kind of an old-fashioned Dave's Gone show like the kind I did when I first started the program. You know, we've been known over the past few years of having some famous people on the program, some special guests, musicians, celebrities, writers. But when I started the program back in 2002, it was an hour of me making jokes, doing sketches, spouting off my opinions on things, doing some cultural stuff. And the idea of having regular guests honestly did not start until a year or two or three into the program. But since then, we are, of course, very proud of all the people who have been part of the Daverhood. We call them friends of the Daverhood because they've stopped in, either in person or mostly over the phone, to talk with me or with Rabbi Saul Solomon for a half hour or 40 minutes or so, and share their lives, share what they're up to. We like to keep tabs on what they've been up to ever since, and that's why we call it Friends of the Daverhood. People who've been on the program in the past, what are they doing now in the present? Well, let's let you know. For example, I want to tell you that tonight, October 6th, Anita Gillette is doing her cabaret show, Me and Mr. B. Now, Mr. B refers to Irving Berlin. So she's doing a bunch of Irving Berlin shows with another B at Birdland. That is this evening. Also happening this evening, Steve Solomon is doing his one-man show, My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy. He did that off-Broadway, and he's done it tons of places. If you've never seen it, it's actually quite enjoyable, and you can catch it at the Patchogue Theater on Long Island tonight. Also, tonight, if you happen to be in another part of New York State, up in Nyack, New York, see Neil Berg's 100 Years of Hollywood. It's a fundraiser for Rivertown Films over in Nyack at the Nyack Center tonight, Saturday night. And even so, one more time, one last chance, I do believe, to see David Mandelbaum in his new Yiddish rep show performance, The Whore from Idaho, at the Kamer Theater that is on West 39th Street. The Whore from Idaho, from New Yiddish Rep, with our friend David Mandelbaum. All of that is today, Saturday. Now, turning to tomorrow and also Monday, Dick Cavett will narrate a new play by Billy Crystal. Now, Billy Crystal's written a play that I assume he wants to bring to Broadway in a year or two. It's called Have a Nice Day. And he's got actors for it, Keegan-Michael Key and Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live. They will be helping to read the play for Audible.com at the Minetta Lane Theater. So this is a two-night thing tomorrow and Monday at the Minetta Lane off Broadway downtown. And assuming things go well and Crystal does some revisions on it, we may see the show in a bigger way later on. But if you want to hear and see Dick Cavett, maybe the greatest, other than Steve Allen, maybe the second greatest all-time talk show host, well, Letterman. Anyway, one of the greatest all-time talk show hosts, go see Dick Cavett in this new play being read by Billy Crystal, Have a Nice Day. That is happening tomorrow and Monday. Also on Monday, October 8th, it's a release party for the original cast CD of Miss You Like Hell, a show that ran at the Public Theater off Broadway, featuring our friend Daphne Rubin Vega. Get the CD from Ghostlight Records. And then from October 10th through the 28th, it starts this Wednesday, our nemesis, the evil one, Mandy Patinkin. Here's Mandy Patinkin. If you want, I've told the story too many times to reiterate it, but we had Mandy Patinkin on the show for about 8 seconds a decade and a half ago. So, Mandy Patinkin, Mandy. But he was on the program. So, Mandy Patinkin in concert. He's doing a show off Broadway at the Connolly Theater on East 4th Street. It's called Mandy Patinkin in Concert Diaries 2018, from Wednesday all the way through the end of the month. Happening Friday through the end of the month, someone we like a lot more than Mandy, Robert Cuccioli. He is at the White Plains Performing Arts Center starring in the Broadway show Fun Home. I think it even won the Tony and might have won the Pulitzer Prize. I'm not sure about that. But Fun Home, from the Alison Bechdel animated book about this budding lesbian cartoonist and her father who was in the closet. Really, really well-received Broadway show. Well, they're doing it at the White Plains Performing Arts Center, and Robert Cuccioli is playing the conflicted father in that production. Playing now through the middle of November at the Arvada Center, moving to Colorado again, Educating Rita, directed by the artistic director who plays there, Lynn Collins. So see that at the Arvada Center. Now through also the middle of October, in New York at Harlem Stage, there is a repertory cast of doing Antigone in Ferguson. It's a play with music and features Tamara Tooney. I don't think she's at every performance. She's in a rotating cast. But our friend Tamara Tooney in that show at Harlem Stage. Richard Nelson, the playwright, our friend, is adapting and directing, we mentioned this before, Uncle Vanya, featuring J.O. Sanders. That is at the Hunter Theater Project, now through the middle of October. And also, through the middle of October, it's Tootsie, the musical that is in Chicago, featuring our friend Julie Holston. And of course, the score, the music, is by David Yazbek, our pal, who also wrote a little show called The Band's Visit, which you can see on Broadway. And speaking of Chicago, at the Goodman Theater, David Cale's new solo show with music, We're Only Alive for a Short Amount of Time, that is playing now through later in October, as is, oh boy, it's an Austin Pendleton alert. Yay, Austin, because every week Austin Pendleton is doing something else, and Austin Pendleton is directing a lesser-known Tennessee Williams play, but one that has all the benchmarks of a Williams work. A Lovely Sunday for Crève-Cœur, that is at the Theater at St. Clement's in Manhattan. And check out the cast. Annette O'Toole and Christine Nielsen are both in that Williams play, staged by our pal Austin Pendleton. Now through early November, Robert Calfin directs My Parsifal Conductor at the Marjorie Dean Theater on West 63rd Street, and that's a comedy, believe it or not. And then J.O. Sanders, we mentioned him, he's directing The Bench, featuring our friend Galinsky at the Hudson Guild Theater in Santa Monica, California. Now through the middle of November, I was hoping this would move to Broadway, the National Yiddish Theater's Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish, with music direction by Zalman Latek, and of course the lyrics to Fiddler originally were by Sheldon Harnick, our friend. Desperate Measures, the musical comedy at the York Theater. We were talking about the York Theater before. And their Mufti series, Desperate Measures, has been extended again all the way to the end of the year. And that features music by David Friedman and a set designed by the York's artistic director, Jim Morgan. And that show did win the Outer Critics Circle Award for Best Off-Broadway Musical. Playing now through late January, it's School of Rock, with lyrics by our pal Glenn Slater. Come From Away, we mentioned that before. You can see that at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theater. La Chance is in summer, the Donna Summer musical at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater, while Daniel Breaker is still in Hamilton playing Aaron Burr at the Richard Rogers Theater. In terms of nightlife, don't forget Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. And if you want to find out about New York nightlife and theater, check out StageBuggy.com, founded and edited by my friend Evan Seplow. Subscribe to DrDemento.com for new and old Dr. Demento shows, and watch on Manhattan Neighborhood Network 2, count 'em, 2 theater-related programs, Eva Heinemann's High Drama, and Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake's 2 on the Aisle. You're going to read Mary Shen Barnage's Chicago reviews in the aforementioned TotalTheater.com, and you can read Willard Mannis's Los Angeles reviews there too. Oh my gosh, what else? And Gil Moon. Let's not forget, our radio friend Gilbert Moon hosts Senior Circles Sunday mornings on KFKA radio here in Greeley, and then he does old-time radio, and then he plays old-time radio shows on KFKA on Sunday evenings from 6 until midnight. So a shout-out to Gil Moon and to all the friends of the Daverhood. Thank you. Woo! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here live on this episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. We've done so much on this episode already, and yet we still have a bit more to go. It's about 25 after 11. And by the way, welcome to my Auntie Essie. Hey, Auntie Essie. She's just tuned in, and Bruce and Walker and Eric and a bunch of other people have been listening since we went on the air 2.5 hours ago. So yes, we have Dave's Big Dictionary coming up, where I'll be talking somehow about the word Marshall. That one is still kind of stumping me, I admit. But before we get to that, let's do our Saturday segue of songs in the news. This is where we will play a portion of some song, and it will be connected in some way to something happening in the news, in the world, and current events. And your job is to listen to and enjoy the piece of music, but also go, why is Dave playing that? What is it? The song title? Is it the person doing the song? Is it the whole theme of the tune? What would make Dave play that right now? So that's why we call it our Saturday segue of songs in the news. Extra, extra, hear all about it. We provide the rhymes, you provide the reasons. It's our Saturday segue of songs in the news. Da-dum, da-dum, dum 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 dum. Very official sounding music, isn't it? So yeah, so that's your job. I can't play the whole song because of Facebook copyright issues, but I'll play a bit of it, and maybe you'll be able to tell, well, oh, I know why Dave is playing that. Unfortunately, I'm starting with a toughie. I'm starting with one that doesn't even have any lyrics. So you kind of have to be an old-time and Americana music aficionado to maybe get this one, but we'll try. This is from a celebrated string instrument person, one who's really known for the banjo, a guy named Stephen Wade. Stephen Wade actually did an off-Broadway show, about 2 decades ago, called Banjo Dancing, where he would talk about the banjo and play songs and do anecdotes and stories. It was pretty good, and have one of his albums. But anyway, Stephen Wade, from his 1990 CD, Dancing Home. But the name of that song, that instrumental song, if you happen to recognize it, is called Money Musk. Money Musk. Why would I be playing a song with that title on Dave's Gone By today, October 6, 2018? Well, back on Monday, shares of Tesla Inc. jumped 18% on the news that their CEO, Elon Musk, settled an SEC lawsuit against him, and he said and promised to step down as the chairman of the company, although he gets to remain the chief executive officer. And leading up to that, he became crazy, eccentric people can do amazing things, but also crazy, eccentric things. So in interviews, he seemed sort of weird and unstable. He was smoking pot on a radio show. It was not... It might be the image we have of someone who's got wild and crazy and wonderful ideas and can make them happy. It is not the image that investors of millions and millions of dollars into a company want to see from their COO. So, he will... He's going to step down, although stay with the company. And he did say, that the news also came out, that production of the company's Model 3 sedans was way, way up and would push the company pretty close to profitability, which is interesting because when you hear about SpaceX and all these other things that are costing gazillions of dollars, great ideas, but if somebody pulls the plug... And then they realize, oh, wait, we're getting money from somewhere, but we're not getting it back, etc. And so, I don't know how SiriusXM, after all these years, is not only extant and doing its thing. I guess they're too big to fail, but they just, what would they buy, Shazam? Or one of those music places? With what? They're in debt to begin with. Where do they get the dough? Don't understand. But anyway... That's why we played Stephen Wade's Money Musk from his album Dancing Home. So now you get the idea, if you didn't already, in terms of, Dave's going to play a song. Why is he playing it? What is there to talk about? Our next number, sort of sad to have to play this.
She may be the face I can't forget.
A man who could sing in English. He could also sing in French, probably German and Italian as well, and maybe half a dozen other languages. That was a popular song all over the world. It's like a number one hit pretty much everywhere back when that came out, which I think was in the early 1974. Number one hit in the United Kingdom, the song She. Well, yeah, She, of course, is all over the news. Women's rights, women's issues, what Brett Kavanaugh did or didn't do. But the singer of that song and the composer of that song, Charles Aznavour, who passed away this past Monday at the age of 94. He was the Frank Sinatra of France. He was born May 22nd, 1924, to Armenian immigrants in Paris. His dad was a singer and restaurateur who encouraged Aznavour to quit school and sing, which he did. And Aznavour was actually discovered by Edith Piaf, who took him on a French and American tour. Aznavour himself won an award for himself and his family. They won the Raoul Wallenberg Award for when the Aznavours hid Jews during World War II. I have no idea about that. During his very long and respectable career, he recorded 91 albums, wrote 1,000 plus songs, and he sang in half a dozen languages. If you remember, he starred in one of my favorite Francois Truffaut films called Shoot the Piano Player. He collaborated with or did duets with the likes of Youssou N'Dour, Sting, Celine Dion, and Placido Domingo. Don't hold that against him. He did, a decade ago, a farewell tour. But you know what? His last concert was September 19th of this year in Osaka, Japan. And how many people do you know have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and are a national hero in Armenia? So, yeah. I do recall seeing Aznavour on Broadway about 15 to 20 years ago. And this is one of the things I was talking about last time in terms of when I watched Dance a Little Closer on Broadway, and wasn't necessarily appreciating that the work I was watching, even though it wasn't good, was by Alan J. Lerner and George Rose and Allison Reed and people like that, and Len Cariou. It didn't register on me the way it would have people who knew their work a lot better and had been going to the theater many more years and much more than I was. It was kind of that way with Aznavour, and I didn't know his songs. I didn't really know or care about his work. I was a theater critic seeing everything on Broadway, so I'm like, oh, this guy's famous, and I'll hear 2.5 hours of continental songs by Charles Aznavour. And it was nice, and then I was kind of bored out of my mind. But I'm glad I saw him. I'm glad I got to... He probably did that song. I didn't even... And people probably heard, he's doing She. And me, I'm like, oh, okay, kind of a nice tune. People seem to be really familiar with it and like it a lot. That's the way things go. But we certainly say farewell to Charles Aznavour, who passed away at 94 this past week. Let's move on to another song in the Daverhood, as part of our Saturday segue of songs in the news. I haven't checked the news yet, but, I can check it right now before I play this. So, because it's literally up to the minute. Give me a moment, folks. Sorry about the tippy-tappy-tapping noises. Did it happen? Is it happening? They're still debating, those master debaters of the Senate, on this.
I need confirmation of my duty visits. Help me get my poor life back in line.
From his album Train Home, our friend of the Daverhood, Chris Smither, singing there Confirmation. That's the name of the track. Confirmation. Why would I be playing Confirmation right now? Well, you all know. Right now, as we speak, the Senate is contentiously debating the confirmation is all but certain at this point for Brett Kavanaugh to become a right-wing conservative Supreme Court justice, tipping the balance, I guess, to 7-4? Or I forget, it was 5-6, or 6-5 conservative. Now it's going to be 7-4, etc. Because he's Trump's man. Trump backed him. Trump went all over the place. First he said, this woman who's accusing him, Christine Blasey Ford, she seems like a nice lady, and she seems believable. And then, days later, being typical Trump, turned on her and said it's not fair what she's doing to his reputation, and she doesn't remember this, she doesn't remember that. Literally talking about nothing had changed. It was the same hearing that Trump was watching with the rest of America, where he's like, she seems like a credible witness. And then days later, it's like, no, she doesn't remember this, she doesn't remember that. She's ruining this man's life for no reason. He needs to be confirmed. Well, he's going to be. Now, I'll give people like Susan Collins, and I think Lisa Murkowski is still voting no, but Flaky Floyd Flake and other folks like that who are on the fence, I'll give them the benefit of a doubt that they read the FBI report, whether it was incomplete or not, and the FBI report really didn't add anything substantive to the hearing that happened a week ago. It galls me to say this, but Brett Kavanaugh is innocent until he's proven guilty. And it galls me because I hate him. I hate watching him at that hearing. I saw an angry asshole frat boy. If somebody were accusing me of stuff, whether I did or didn't do it, if I didn't do it, I'd be incredibly angry. If I did do it and felt guilty about it, I would still turn the anger outward. And still, if it happened so many years ago, I could almost convince myself that I didn't do it and feel just as angry and lash out at the people accusing me, right? So, point is, though, I hate him. I hate what he represents, right? I hate what he will possibly do to the Roe versus Wade decision and to LGBTQ rights and issues like that. Everything else, liberal, conservative, doesn't really matter that much. It's about abortion and about rights if you're not white, male, and I happen to be a white male, so I'm straight. So it doesn't, other things don't really affect me that much if you're the main dominant person in society. But still, to have this guy tip the balance further or overturn the balance such as it is that we have in the Supreme Court is galling. And yet, it is Trump's right to nominate this man. It angers me more, it angers everybody more, because Obama had the right to pick Merrick Garland and was denied that by Mitch McConnell, who is a cancer on the universe. So that's the main, I think that is the underlying reason, because, yeah, Brett Kavanaugh probably did do something wrong to this woman. He didn't rape her, but there was some kind of physical assault. I get the feeling he did that, and maybe to another woman or two, when he was a drunken asshole piece of shit frat boy. I am guessing that he did this. It feels like he did. Is there any proof? Is there any out-and-out evidence? Is she clear enough on all the facts to make that stick in a court of law? No. So he is innocent. And certainly half the Democrats who are voting in line on party lines no on Kavanaugh are really doing it because they just don't want him in for the other reasons. And this was just another shot in the dark. It was a Hail Mary pass. Like, oh my God, he might have molested somebody when he was a teenager, when he was 17, not even a grown-up adult guy. Even though other allegations were that later on he did when he was older and to older women. Well, that was their Hail Mary. McConnell screwed us on Merrick Garland, and now Trump gets a second Supreme Court. They get to pack the court with conservatives for the next... literally, when Merrick Garland gets voted in and confirmed and gets sworn in, I will have a conservative-leaning Supreme Court for the rest of my life. I'm 54 years old, and maybe I've got 30, 40 years left. This guy, Kavanaugh, probably has 30, 40 years left. We've got all these other people on the court. RBG, we hope she stays healthy. But if she goes down within the next year, or for all we know, Clarence Thomas or one of the other older judges might say, hey, you know what? Trump might not get elected again. Let me retire. Let me not have this for the rest of my life. I've made enough money. I'm fine. And if I believe in conservatism, if I'm a right-wing person, I'll retire and let Donald Trump pick somebody else who's 40 years old instead of late 70s or middle 80s. And then we are all well and truly fucked. We already are. Let's face it, we already are. But this is happening today, this confirmation. And I think the thing that everything makes me angry about this. It makes me angry that we don't have proof that Kavanaugh did these things, so that we have to take it at his word that he is not guilty, that he is innocent, and therefore entitled to be on the bench. And the FBI couldn't find anything. We can be angry if the FBI didn't interview enough people. But then again, how many people can you interview? How many people can you talk to from 1980-something at a party? Right, and find them and so forth. It's crazy. So that angers me as well. The Merrick Garland thing enrages me, having this obvious guy who will be against Democrats on the Supreme Court. Now, granted, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is very much against Trump and a lot of the Republicans. So there is partisanship, whether it's spoken or unspoken, on the court. So fine. But to have this new person who very certainly will weigh to the right way. He's a strict constitutionalist. My dick, right? He's going to interpret things so that they can cut back on women's right to abortion. He will interpret things so that gay people and lesbians and transgender people can't get married as easily or have same rights on certain... maybe I'm putting words into his mouth. There have been conservative judges who voted, if not their consciences, then more towards the letter of the Constitution and the letter of the law, and good for them on that. They weren't disgusting Scalias, right? So that is possible. And he vows to be a fair and prudent judge and rule based on the rule of law and not the rule of politics. I think it's bullshit, but maybe he'll prove us wrong. I'm angry about, and angry most of all, I think, turning the anger in on ourselves at the Democrats, because boy, oh boy, we sure know how to make a lot of noise while losing. And we have been losing again and again and again. We lost the presidency. It wasn't as... We had all the charts and graphs that they were showing on MSNBC that Donald Trump couldn't win, and they had this ridiculous little narrow needle to thread if he wanted to even have a shot of winning the presidency. All the noise, all the pussy hats, all the marches, all the impeachment, none. He won. He's in charge. Didn't win that. Didn't win on saving Obama. I mean, they saved parts of Obamacare. Now it's worse than it ever was because you have some parts, it's more expensive than ever, and yet people are denied more than ever and being thrown off the rolls. That didn't work. Protesting that. Protested voted against mostly the first Supreme Court pick that Trump did, Neil Gorsuch. Didn't work. One after the other. All these, the Democrats scream and whine and cry and protest and wear the hats, and they say we're going to organize and we've got momentum on our side going into the midterm elections, and I am so fucking worried now about the midterms. They were talking, blue wave, and we've got this, and these people vote locally, they vote demographically, and also, let's face it, and this is good, the economy's been good. We have the lowest unemployment numbers in 50 years, was it? Since the 1960s. Lowest unemployment, 3.7 unemployment rate. Whether they're fudging the numbers or not, they're always fudging the numbers. That's what they've got. And jobs are hiring. And in fact, they're worried now. Well, I'm already, you know what? I've already moved into the next, the next song I'll play. I'll play it in a moment. But it's like, so that's going to make it really tough for the Democrats to win in November, in a month and a half from now, or a month even from now. We lose. We bitch, we cry, and we lose. We've got to figure out the right people, the right folks, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or kick her to the curb, whether it's that Perez guy who just isn't inspiring anybody, I don't think. Cory Booker, who talks a good game and seems... what has he done? Where are the people who are going to make us win? People mocked. The Democrats mocked Donald Trump again and again when he says, winning, we're winning. Guess what? They're winning. Can we turn that around? I don't know. Anyway, since I alluded to it already, I guess we should play this tune. Some David Byrne there from the live Talking Heads concert, and also I guess the film is part of that too. The song Found a Job from the Talking Heads. Found a job, and as I've been saying, say what you want about Donald Trump, hate him as much as we all do, but the economy. And in September, the unemployment rate fell to its lowest rate since 1969. Wages grew, of course, only slightly because the big bosses are making all the money, but companies are feeling the pressure to compete. Amazon, bless their hearts, raised wages across the board to $15 an hour, which really should be the American minimum wage in most cities and towns, unless they're really, really depressed. Of course, the problem is that interest rates are starting to creep up too, which means inflation is creeping up. You're paying $3 at least for gas now, and other things might be a little more expensive also. It's funny, I was at the bank this week because I went to Wells Fargo. After looking at a statement that I hadn't seen in a while, noticing that they were docking me $14 a month on my business account. An account I've had open for 9 years. It was never a problem. And then suddenly, wait a minute, because I stopped receiving paper statements from Wells Fargo. And when it came in an envelope, when it came on paper, I would open up the envelope, I'd give a glance real quick to what was on there, and then I'd go file it. When they stopped sending paper, I got so many emails in my email box. I mean, look, I was okay, Wells Fargo, fine, putting money in there, great. And then I look over it, and $14 deducted, and $14, and $14, for like months. I'm like, when did this happen? When did this start? So I march over to the Wells Fargo people locally here, like a few blocks away, and I was like, oh yeah, sorry, let's see what we can do. And they reversed about half a year of charges, and I had to close a couple of my accounts. And I said, well, wait a minute, they said, you have a little bit of money in these accounts that we're closing. You have other accounts in here. Which one should we put it in? And I was like, well, okay, which account is getting interest? Because I have checking accounts and we've got savings accounts as well. And I said, well, in the savings account, that's getting some interest. So fine. How much? 0.01%. For the past 20 fucking years, this is when people put money in the bank. Are they getting... Like when I was growing up, you could get 7 to 10% interest on a CD. My dad once had a CD that was giving 14% interest, if you can believe this, right? And now, like a money market or a good savings account in Wells Fargo, 0.01% interest on your money. This is why Wall Street went way down the last 2 days of the week, because they realized, people start to get a little bit of extra dough, of better interest if money that they save, they'll be less inclined to invest it. So we shall see. But I would certainly like to see my Wells Fargo account get boosted to 0.02%. That'd be something. I could retire on that, couldn't I? Anyway, but let's face it, the economy is very strong. It's been strong for 100 straight months, which has almost never happened before. The economic turnaround that started under Obama, you have to give, kills me to say it, gotta give Trump and company credit for at least the optics of it, making the economy go, as he would say, on rocket fuel. And that is why we played The Talking Heads Found a Job. I know I'm not having any luck finding any jobs in the years that I've been looking here. I mean, I teach, thank goodness, as an adjunct at this university, especially in the fall. I'm basically booked full-time. In the spring, try and find another part-time job for a 54-year-old man with skills in the entertainment industry. Good luck. Good luck with all the rejection letters that I get. Yeah. Anywho, so the economy is doing really, really well. Anywho, let's get to some Tom Jones music. Oh yes, Tom Jones, later era, from The Lead and How to Swing It.
Blue eyed dress for every situation. Moving to the doorway of the next.
Aha, there it is. There was the title of the song. I was able to get it in there, thank goodness. But Tom Jones from The Lead and How to Swing It, The Situation, or actually the song is Situation. Situation. Why would we have played that on today's Dave's Gone By? Well, if you are a Jersey Shore fan, as I confess that I am, and my wife is certainly a fan, and have enjoyed watching the trials and tribulations of Snooki and Jay Wow and Ronnie, and oh gosh, what are some of the other names of the people on there? Well, certainly there's Mike Sorrentino, The Situation. Well, the verdict was handed down this week, and he was sentenced to 8 months in prison for tax fraud. In fact, he and his brother Mark were implicated in all this, and Mark got 2 years in the slammer. They both pleaded guilty to falsifying $9 million in tax returns. And this is kind of funny, after he gets out of prison, Sorrentino will have to do 500 hours of community service. He'll get more time under watch, as we say, and he'll have to pay back $10,000. He committed fraud on $9 million, and the give back is $10K. I don't get that. B, I don't get how some Italian doofus from this TV show, where MTV is known for paying pretty low wages, how does he go and make in just a couple of years $9 million? Speaking engagements, book signings, showing up at places and just getting $10,000 a night to be there? Is that why? I mean, they have that other guy, Paulie D, who I know he probably makes something like $50,000 a night as a DJ or more. Sometimes he goes into this club. The club has 3,000 people in it, and they're all dancing, and they're all paying a cover charge. And boom, he gets insane amounts of money that he could put his great-grandchildren through college if he wanted to. I guess all these folks that we look at and they're wearing T-shirts and they're eating together and maybe going on vacation, they never have to think about money again. Never really occurred to me. And money isn't always the cure of all things. I think JWoww officially announced she and her husband were getting divorced a couple of weeks ago. And now, life goes on. It's Mike, the situation. His situation is that he is going to prison. And I think it's kind of cool that all the Jersey Shore cast showed up at his sentencing. So they were there to show him some love, as it were. And he needs it, because he's also the one who went through addiction, and then he went to rehab, and then back in 2015 he relapsed and went to rehab again. Kind of turned his life around, but he's going to need to. And let's just say, well, I don't even know what to say about that, but it seems like a cool guy overall. But if he did what he did and he falsified returns on all this money that he made, unlike a certain president and his father, he's going to have to pay the piper, as it were. But what's kind of, I do hope they keep following these people. I hope they have the cameras on when the whole Jersey Shore crew was there to see him off after sentencing to prison. I hope they'll follow up with him in a couple of years, because I've been watching again the movie 56 Up by Michael Apted, which is a documentary film that they do every 7 years, where back in like 1960 or 64, they found 7-year-old children at a playground. And they did like a 45-minute documentary about them, and they interviewed them and said who they were and what their hopes and dreams were and what their personalities were. And then he would bring cameras every 7 years to check up on the status of these children as they became adolescents, as they became teenagers, and then people in their 20s and 30s, and then most recently, back in 2012. And I'm excited about this because next year will mark 7 more years, and they're going to be at, well, if there were 56 up, the next one is going to be 63 up. These children that were photographed and put in this documentary, all those 56 years ago, will be checked up on again. And it's fascinating to see. I hope they do that with the Jersey Shore. Because the one thing that they don't do with the 56 Up and the 7 Up series is they don't put them all together. They go follow them individually and do a 10-minute sequence on each of the 13 children that were in the original documentary. And they, even though they've had reunions amongst themselves, that doesn't become part of the movie. And I think that the nice thing about following the Jersey Shore people is that they get together. And you can see how the women's faces have changed. And the men, they still look exactly the same, but they're not going to always. Once they start hitting the mid-30s, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they look like, how they interact, not only when they're all parents now, a lot of them, but when they're grandparents, when they have other issues. So it would be wonderful if Michael Apted could take over the Jersey Shore series, and maybe every 5 years, bring them back together, bring them, if not to Las Vegas, maybe Pompeii or to Detroit, and put, for a long 2 weeks or a long weekend, get them all together and just have the camera study them and see where they're at. And wouldn't it be great if they're doing that 20, 30 years from now and still checking in on them doing the show? Anyway, that's just my thinking. By the way, I'm thinking it's almost noon Mountain Time here in Greeley, Colorado at the University of Northern Colorado, where you've been watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. It is our 669th broadcast and our 16th anniversary show. For more information about the show, please visit davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby.com. And remember, that is the place to hear and watch hundreds of our previous episodes for free. They're archived as MP3s. We've also saved for the past half a year all the videos, all this Facebook stuff we've been doing. That's on the website too, davesgoneby.com. So download it or stream it on your computer. If you want to drop me an email, davesgoneby@aol.com is the way to do that. And also do check our Twitter feed. My wife just said that I'm looking handsome. Thank you, dear. you're not looking so bad yourself. Or at least your Frida Kahlo icon on the machine looks pretty good. But the Twitter feed is Radio Dave 2. Radio Dave, the number 2. And follow me there as well as, of course, on Facebook. So, I do have one more Saturday Segue song to get to before we do our Dave's Big Dictionary segment. And you know this is a song I'm going to play. Everybody knows who this is, the people singing, and even the album that it's from. Voice, of course, there of John Lennon, treated in kind of odd way to make him sound a certain way. And then if you go later on in the song, it gets all whirly-giggy, carnival-esque, carousel-y, where the people in the studio literally cut pieces of tape and joined them randomly almost, spliced them together and rang things backwards and forwards to get this whole, the feeling of a little bit of carnival chaos for that song, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, which of course came from the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Why are we playing being for the benefit of Mr. Kite? Is it because early in the show I told you about this kite that I bought at a garage sale for 5 cents, where you have the caterpillar that's finding new life in Jesus? God. Jesus. No, that's not the reason. That is literally coincidental. Has nothing to do with why we played that song. It's actually kind of sad news. The fella who engineered that song and that album and a bunch of other albums by some major people passed away this past Tuesday. Jeff Emmerich, engineer, died of a heart attack. He was only 72 years old. Now, he was 19 years old when he started working with George Martin on the early Beatles records. And I'm talking like the first Beatles, singing like the I Want to Hold Your Hand, Please Please Me era Beatles stuff. And he was basically the errand boy and kind of sticking around learning his trade until by 1966 he was able to kind of take the reins. And he became, even though George Martin was still the overall producer, Jeff Emmerich was the idea man and the engineer for the albums, maybe the greatest rock album of all, arguably Revolver, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So, he would make suggestions, or the Beatles would want to hear a certain thing, and it was Emmerich, as much as arranger George Martin, who would put together the sound of these Beatles songs. The Beatles nicknamed him Ernie, or they also call him, and I love this, they call Jeff Emmerich Emeroids. I love that. And he could respond. The great thing about him was that if Paul said, I need a specific instrument here, or I feel like this should have some brass here and some woodwinds there, Emmerich could accomplish that with George Martin. Or when John was more metaphorical, he said, I want this to sound like a carnival in clouds. Emmerich could translate that into something physical, whether it was stuffing a T-shirt into a drum to get a particular drum sound, or whether it was feeding back certain things or cutting and pasting. That was his job, and that's what he did. And he was with the Beatles up through part of the White Album, and the Beatles were so tense and so arguey and so fractured during the making of the White Album that Emmerich bailed. And he said, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Went away. He did come back, as all the Beatles did, for the much less tense recordings of Abbey Road. So a pretty great way to go out with the Beatles, and he helped engineer that. He also stayed on some level with Paul McCartney. So McCartney used him on the solo albums Tug of War, London Town, and Band on the Run, which are 3 of McCartney's best solo albums. So there's something to be said for that right there. And the thing was, because he and McCartney were kind of close feeling, Emmerich fell out a little bit more with the other Beatles. So Lennon wouldn't use him on the solo albums, or George Harrison wouldn't use Emmerich because Emmerich was Paul's boy, as it were. But Emmerich did some other stuff. He did the Steelers wheel song that we all know, Stuck in the Middle with You. Those who are fans of the Grace and Frankie program know that starts every show. And he produced the great Elvis Costello album, Imperial Bedroom. He produced it, not just engineered it, as well as All This Useless Beauty. He worked with people like Chris Bell of Big Star and Jeff Beck, Art Garfunkel, America. He did the first Nellie McKay album, and he did the demo tape that got Kate Bush signed to EMI. If you go on Wiki, the one negative thing about Jeff Emmerich is that in his 2006 memoir, Here, There, and Everywhere, My Life Recording the Music of the Beatles, it's supposed to be a very enjoyable and funny book, but he disses on George Martin a bit, he disses on most of the other Beatles besides Paul McCartney, and apparently he got a ton of facts wrong. Now, if you were physically there, in the studio while these things are happening, you should probably not be getting your factual information and your data wrong, but anyway, the most important thing about Jeff Emmerich is he was the guy. He was twiddling the knobs. He was figuring out the solutions to make songs sound the way they did for Elvis Costello, for Jeff Beck, for the Beatles on some of the greatest music they ever made. And so we do say farewell to Jeff Emmerich as we watch his kite flying away. Now, somewhere on here is, where's the kite? I see the string for it. It's near potatoes. Here. We'll actually sing it with you. Being for the benefit of Mr. Jesus Kite here. The kite, New Life in Jesus with our little ugly caterpillar friend. There will be a show tonight called Dave's Gone By. Oh, the caterpillar will come out of his cocoon, and we'll be ending the show fairly soon. Don't know why. Anyway, that's more than enough of that. Anywho, it is the Dave's Gone By Facebook program. It's 7 minutes after 12 Mountain Time. Thank you so much to all the folks who have been listening since the beginning, since 9 o'clock, for staying with us, for making all these delightful comments. Are we done? We almost are, but we do have one more item to get to, and I have to admit, I'm swamped, and because I go now non-stop, because I can't play long pieces of music, and we don't have a guest, or did not have a guest, in this episode of the show, I haven't had a break to pee, and also to think about Dave's Big Dictionary. So I have, essentially, about 18 seconds to think of something to do with our word. Extra, tell all about it. It's Dave's Big Dictionary. All right, so early in the program, when my darling and adorable wife Joyce was here, she helps me out. She opened the dictionary. We do this almost every week. At random, put her finger down on a word, and then my job is to then think about that word and come up with some anecdote or story related to me, or just whatever's in my head that the word brings up. Because I'm a clever and, on-the-spot kind of funny guy, sometimes. So the word that her finger fell down upon was martial. And it's spelled this way, M-A-R-T-I-A-L, that version of martial, which is out of Mars, the Roman god of war, so it's of, relating to, or suited to war, or a warrior, for example, martial music. Of or relating to an army, or military life, or warlike. Martial. Okay. So that is our Dave's Big Dictionary word of the week. I'm going to talk to you on some level about martial. Okay, I'm just going to go random of the things that are in my head. I know there's a Lou Reed song that is either titled, or he talks about martial law. Martial law. Do I have anything to say about that? I don't, except that 2 weeks ago, I rewatched the old Costa Gavras film, Missing. And if you've never seen it, it's a very good movie. I don't know why Roger Ebert had a bug up his ass about this film, but Costa Gavras, best known for doing the political thriller Z, which is a terrific movie. This movie is pretty close. Costa Gavras is a political filmmaker, a social filmmaker, and he did a film based on this terrible true story. And they don't really mention the country, I think, but the true story happened in Chile during the Pinochet years, when the American government was officially staging and helping to create a coup over there. And what happened was people were being shot in the streets and disappeared. Same stuff that happens in Argentina, same stuff that happens in a whole bunch of Latin American and African countries. And sometimes America looks the other way, and sometimes America is actually physically involved in these behind the scenes because we want our guy in power and not the socialist or Marxist person or the military person in power at that place. So Costa Gavras did this film called Missing, all about this young guy who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's a writer, kind of a journalist. He's been living in this country, which is beautiful. I mean, Chile, apparently, you go by the water, it's a lovely country and a lovely place to be, but not when you're in the middle of essentially a civil war. And suddenly, he's gone. His place is all turned over, things are smashed, and one morning he disappears and is taken away. And now, his father and his wife are out, they physically go there to search for him, and they want answers from officials, they want answers from senators, they want answers from the local customs people to try and figure out, where is he? What happened to, did he get out of the country safely? Is he in prison somewhere? Is he being tortured? Or was he just taken away, shot, and thrown somewhere along with thousands of other people, innocent, guilty, and what have you, in vaults or in caves and so forth. And there's gunfire, as it were, throughout the film, but it's really more about the personalities involved, and it's about the lead character, Jack Lemmon, who is great, who is Jack Lemmon, coming to this town of, being the kind of character who has always believed in the world functioning the way it ought to. That if white men are telling you something is true, you believe them. If your government is saying this, it's doing what's best for Americans and for you. And they're not going to fib to you. Right? And Sissy Spacek, she knows better. She realizes just living in Chile and having lived and being younger, a whole generation younger, saying, no, that's not the way it works. And that the government lies all the time. Our government does bad things and sponsors bad things elsewhere. And eventually, the point of the film is that Lemmon comes around to become incredibly cynical and find out what did happen to his son, and that he's been lied to and fibbed to and misdirected all the way along by a bunch of assholes. And so it's a really good movie called Missing. But and this is all brought to my head just by martial, because what's happening is the whole place is in martial law. It gives a very claustrophobic feeling to the film, because once the sun goes down, there's a curfew, and if you're out after curfew, you're not just rounded up, you're shot on the street. And it happened, people are finding dead bodies on the street every morning. So, and it's a big thing to make sure that if you're an American, if you're an expat, or if you're just visiting, or a journalist, you get back to your hotel before nightfall, or you don't come out of it alive. And that's done very, very well in the film. The only caveat I have about it is sometimes the dialogue is a little on the nose. Sometimes when Lemmon is debating Spacek or debating some other people, the officials are trying to quote-unquote help. The dialogue, you can feel the writers, the screenwriter churning it out and having a social debate in word form. That really isn't the way people actually talk to each other. But otherwise, fine movie involving martial law. I got it in there somehow. And there you go. Can I talk about anything else involving martial? Military music, like marching band music? I can go back to the old statement from a couple of decades ago in terms of defending the National Endowment for the Arts, when that was under fire from Republicans. And you can bet with people like Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court that the NEA isn't going to get much love over the next 40 years of funding art that may be seen as controversial or anti-Republican. So when in the Jesse Helms era, in the NEA 4, or it was the NEA 7 era, when it looked like the NEA would be taken away. and chopped or cut completely, right? One of the statistics that I found that was absolutely galling is that, we talk about, or senators were talking about, how can we give away this money to artists? Let the whole thing be it's a democracy and it's a capitalist society, so let the people vote with their wallets. Don't fund artists. If an artist creates something that people want to pay for, people will pay for it. If they don't want to see it, they won't. But we shouldn't subsidize the arts, especially if it doesn't glorify the flag or America or make us seem wonderful. That was the thinking. It's still, I'm sure, the thinking of people like Orrin Hatch and people like, that horrible little toad who was flip-flopping, so-called John McCain's best buddy who's in the Congress. I'm thankfully forgetting his name, but that closeted little bugger, whatever the fuck his name is. So the people like that, thinking like that, is still with us, I'm sure, and will only get greater if the Republicans hold Congress and the House, and if Trump gets another 4 years in 2020. But the statistic that caught my mind years ago was that, the NEA spends X million dollars on funding theater and dance and opera and sculpture and painting in America. A lot of money. We spend more money in America on military marching bands. Think about that for a minute. When we talk about, the military doesn't have any money, we need to break the budget with gazillions and trillions of dollars because the military's hurting and they can't do this and they can't fix the VA. And it's like, we spend more money funding military marching bands in the United States than we do for all the money that the NEA sends to help writers and artists and thinkers. Now, this is an old statistic, and I never actually researched it to make sure that it was really true. And it may have changed. It may have also gotten worse. Do your homework. Go Googling. Do your homework. See if it is true. If it is, and you start getting these senators and congressmen who are heeding the call of some of their gun-toting, Dixie-waving constituents saying, why the hell we got to give this money to these Jews and faggots who are making, shows that don't show America right? And it's like, no. Why not? Why? Because we're giving money to people to march up and down with fucking trombones and drums and brass instruments in a line, in a procession, so they can move across almost like tanks, moving down a street under martial law, and all the children can see the soldiers in their shiny uniforms with the sun glinting off these instruments and go, ooh, wow, yeah, wow, in a parade. Whoopee. Anyway, that's me and the word Marshall on Dave's Big Dick Dictionary. For this Saturday, October 6, 2018, here in Greeley, Colorado. This has been the 669th episode of the show. Yeah, and it's been so great to have so many people tuning in, watching. There's Chris from my old high school. There's someone named Joyce. Not quite sure who that is, but I believe she's kind of hot. And then there's Jolinda and Jeffrey and so many folks who left comments and watched. If you missed part of the show, if you tuned in like 2 hours in, like my Aunt Esther did, thanks for not watching all 3 hours, Auntie Essie. But if you missed it, tomorrow, probably, if all the machinery works right, we'll have the whole show for you on davesgoneby.com. You can watch it then, or you can rewatch this video on Facebook. We'll hopefully save it there as well. So, yeah, lots of different ways to catch up with the Dave's Gone Bys that you missed, or to say, hey, there was a really fun segment earlier on where we read the Bill Cosby book, or they were making fun of Greeley crimes at old times, or Dave's Big Dictionary was really sort of interesting about martial law, or this Costa Gavras movie I've never seen. Whatever it is, you can go back and rewatch or share with your friends, davesgoneby.com. And remember, on the Facebook page, please get your pals to know about this show, to share the show. If you've friended me on Facebook, don't just friend me, put me as C first. because I don't clog Facebook all week long with a zillion postings. I let you know what's coming up, and then when the show goes on, and it will tell you, oh, by the way, Dave's on live. Don't miss him. Every Saturday morning from 9 until noon. Now, we didn't have a special guest, per se, apart from our new friend, moop-moop, on the Dave's Gone By show. And, of course, Potato. Ah. And this insane caterpillar Jesus worm that I got at the... God almighty. That I got in the garage sale. But next week, we do intend to have a very special guest in the Daverhood, a singer with a fine and lovely jazzy voice, a woman named Stevie. Her name is Stevie Holland, and she's been a jazz singer for 2 or 3 decades now, I believe, and she's probably best known for a mix of cabaret show and theater show called Love, Linda, and it's all about Linda Porter, the wife of Cole Porter. She was married to him, kind of long-suffering, because, well, she knew that he was playing for the other team, as it were, but she loved his wit and his personality. She loved the cocktail crowds and the theater people that he was hanging out with. So, yeah, she tolerated a bit from him for a while, and all the while she had a great personality, and she was part of that life, too. So, this is kind of Cole Porter from the Linda Porter perspective. And Stevie Holland put this show together about a decade ago of Linda talking about her life while, of course, singing a number of Cole Porter songs. So that's going to be really cool. We will have Stevie Holland talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon in the Daverhood next week, next Saturday, which I do believe is October 13th. So don't miss that. And we will try and play a bit of her music so you can hear her wonderful voice and her doing some Cole Porter stuff, all here Saturdays on Dave's Gone By. It just remains for me to thank you all again for tuning in, to thank so much my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, for joining me for the first part of the show, and joining me for so much of my life, and for the 16 years she was there with me, 16 years ago today, in that Long Island radio station of she won't go on mic, I don't think. I think she said one word. She was just there to support me. She was there because she knew I was nervous, and she gave me like a little, quick neck rub before the show started. And then when I started freaking out when I wasn't timed minute to minute the way I thought I would be, or when something would go wrong, she was there just to be in my corner and support me to do that very first Dave's Gone By. And here we are, 16 years later, still there in my corner, helping me and supporting me. I love you so much, my dear. So, that ends our 16th anniversary, Sweet 16 episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. Drop me a line at davesgoneby@aol.com. Check my Twitter feed at Radio Dave #2. Check the archives at davesgoneby.com. And bundle up. We're going to feel a bit of fall this week. Can we, get that? Not even that light spring coat out of the closet. Get maybe that heavier autumn coat for the next few days, and maybe an umbrella and a hat. You might need it. But it's always warm and cozy here in the Daverhood. And by the way, enjoy the holiday. Did I do this 1 week early? Just give me a moment. I want to check something out. I'm sorry about all the clicking and the moving around. But I may be 1 week off on this. No, I am not. No, I'm absolutely not. That, even though we're not off here at UNC, we have a holiday coming up this week, and a holiday that the Italians have kind of claimed, a holiday like everything else in America is now controversial, because whether Christopher Columbus was a good guy, a bad, whether he was Jewish or not Jewish, whether he was thrown out of Spain and taking a bunch of thieves with him that then hurt the Native Americans who were here, it's like, enjoy being Italian. Enjoy those of you who have a postal day off or a day off from work, because Monday is officially Columbus Day. Or Monday's when Columbus Day is celebrating. It's actually Thursday. Don't know, don't care. Just want to play a song with Columbus in it so we can get out of here. This is from a record by the Continental Drifters, and they were sort of a super group. They had one person from the Hollies and one person from the Bangles. Pretty cool group called the Continental Drifters and their album Vermilion. And they wrote a song called the Christopher Columbus Transcontinental Highway. So we're going to jump on that highway and leave the Daverhood for this Saturday. But hopefully I will see you next week with a brand new episode, our 670th episode of the show, to really get our 17th season underway and gone by.